Okay, so we're live. What I'll have to do is figure out how to get everyone back in. May put a key Franklin on. Al-Yashaba. Kuchar. Invitation posted. There's got to be a way to share this while it's live.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Aki. Welcome back. Okay.
Yeah, I see you alive right now.
Okay, great. So if everyone go into the Hangouts on air, they should see the room. But getting that message to them is another issue. I'm going to try to go to Facebook and post a message in that regards. If I could get them to go to Hangout on air, then they'll see they'll see the broadcast. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get that information out to everyone. I'm going to Facebook. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, as a matter of fact, maybe I can actually share the link on Facebook. I'm hoping that they'll check Facebook. Happening now. Let's see. Paste. Coot Jones, Coot Valerie, Coot Bernice, Coot Al Yashaba, Kiadial. Who else? Can't remember all the names right now. Okay, so I posted a link to the live broadcast on Facebook. And it's growth pains, I guess, the learning portion. All right. Okay, let's see. All right, no one else seemed to be finding it. How do I share live? Hangouts tool. Allow. Options. Always allow. Okay, I'm just trying to see how I would share this live. While it's live anyhow. That screen share, that's... Okay, Akut Mahalia made it. Great to see you, Akut. All right, let's see. I'm still trying to get the information out to everyone, Akut. Let's see. And let me know if my volume is okay also. This is a work in progress now.
Loud and clear.
Oh, great, great. Want to apologize for my inexpertise but I guess it takes a little while to catch on. This is certainly new to us, but I believe that once we figure it out, we'll find that we like it more than Fuse. Let's see. I have sent, okay, so this is the events page. I'm going to share this again. It doesn't allow me to share it while I'm live, it seems. It doesn't allow me to share it while I'm live, but I'd like to get the link to Google Plus for those who are still trying to get in. Let's see. If I stop the broadcast, then what that does is it doesn't allow me to restart the broadcast. So I'd have to create a new broadcast. So I don't want to do that. Showcase question. Okay. I'm going to see if I can call Akut Al-Yashaba and do you know where the phone is? Let's see. I'm going to try to go back to Google Plus. youtube.com/Word of Life Ministry. I'm going to try to go back there and see if I can give some additional information to the family trying to find us. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Uh-oh.
Who is that?
Yahuah.
Oh, okay, great. I hear you loud and clear, Akut. All right. I'm just going back to Google Plus to see if I can get this information out to the family who is trying to get in. If they go to my Google Plus page, you'll see where it says live, and
I went right from that Facebook that you posted, and that link brought me right here to it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let me, family, please click on this link. Join the live room. Okay, I'm going to share this again, and I'm hoping that everyone's logged into Google and they'll see that. I just shared it again. And then if you go to, like you said there, Akut, if they go to Facebook or if they're in Google Plus, on Google Plus it says live. The link says live, so I can just click on that. But getting everyone to know that that's what needs to be done is the other challenge. Let me go back here. I'm going to put some music on here for a second while we try to get this sorted out.
They say we're in the land of the free and living in the home of the brave. Oh, I want to tell this story. We're taught from the cradle to the grave. We've learned their ways and how they behave. We because we don't know who we really are. Double ring 28 tells you of a people's fate. Oh, hear Yahusha's story of people who didn't believe Yahuah, and for his love they had no regard. Now they're lost and gone astray. There is a people think there in the land of the free. Oh, my people, you're still in the land of your captivity. A chosen people, do you really want to be free? Oh, face your destiny. Yahuah gave us Torah to live by. He said, if you keep it, I will place you on high above all the nations of the world. Barak in the city, you'll be Barak in the field. Fruit of your body, all that you yield, I will rock. If you do what I command you. But if you choose not to obey, all of these curses I'll bring your way, and I'll scatter you.
Yeah, I'm already in there. Oh. Okay.
So what I want to do is
You're welcome, Lakin.
I'm just going to mute all the other mics. Oh, family, if you could just mute your mics so it doesn't feed in, that'd be great.
Your chosen people.
Let's see.
But do you really want to be free?
Oh, you don't see it on my page? You have to go to my page. Yeah.
Well, I'm in a
Destiny has been foretold, but of you must stay cold, forsaking gods of these other nations. Repent and return, 'cause it's time. And on Yahuah you must rely to be deceived. No more by the light that surrounds you. But there is a people still think there in the land of the free. Oh, my people, you're still in the land of your captivity. You're a chosen people. But do you really want to be free? Oh, gotta face your destiny. If you want to be free, face your destiny.
Tell Elijah, come here.
$2
I will do a new thing in you. I will do a new thing in you. Behold, I will do. Behold, I will do a new thing in you. I will do a new thing in you. Behold, I will do. Even now it shall spring forth. 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 He will make a way. He will make a way. He will make a way in the wilderness. He will make a way. Yes, He will make a way. He will make a way in the wilderness. Behold, I will do a new thing in you. I will do a new thing in you. Behold, I will do. Behold, I will do a new thing in you. I will do a new thing in you. Behold, I will do. Even now it shall spring forth. 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 He will make a way. He will make a way in the wilderness. He will make a way. Yes, He will make a way. He will make a way in the wilderness. Get music and motivation for your spiritual journey at setapartheart.com.
Nothing.
No.
You hear me now?
Yeah, but I want to make sure that the mic is blocked. Yeah. And I want to see if I can cast this.
How lovely are your dwelling places. How lovely are your dwelling places. Oh yeah. How lovely are your dwelling places. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How lovely are your dwelling places. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How lovely are your dwelling places. Show favor to me, oh Yahuah, for I cry to you. Show favor to me, for I cry to you.
Between the two?
Show favor to me, oh Yahuah, for I cry to you. Show favor to me, for I cry to you. Oh Yahuah, oh Yahuah. to me, for I cry to you. Oh, Yahuah, oh, Yahuah, show favor to me, for I cry to you. Bring joy to my being, I'm your servant, oh yeah. Bring joy to my being, oh yeah. Bring joy to my being, I'm your servant, oh yeah. Bring joy to my being, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh Yahuah, bring joy to my being, oh yeah, oh Yahuah, oh Yahuah, bring joy to my being, oh yeah. How lovely are your dwelling places. Get more music and motivation for your spiritual journey at setapartheart.com.
Okay, so I just want to say very quickly, family, that just be advised that as we broadcast here on Google Plus, first of all, let me say Shabbat Shalom to you all. It is wonderful to see you. I'm a little bit troubled that we're going through a learning curve, and not everyone will quickly figure out how to get, how to get onto the platform. But once and so my concern right now is that we have family who are actually trying to get in, but who is unable to get here. Maybe what I might have to do is go into the fuse room and have that open so I can kind of guide them and direct everyone to this venue. But even as we're here right now, this is being live streamed on YouTube. So if someone goes to YouTube, if they want to listen to the fellowship live, they can go to YouTube, and it's being live streamed on our YouTube page. If you go to youtube.com/Word of Life Ministry, which is our YouTube page. If you go there, you will also hear whatever transpires here live stream there, and it's also being recorded as we go. So it's a bit of learning curve involved, but I believe that what we'll find is it seems as if this program really does work a whole lot better than Fuse does, and so I'm excited about that. And it also make us available to a lot more people than we would be available to on Fuse, and so more people can more easily find us. And so another way to find us also is if you go to your Google Plus account, if you go to your Google Plus homepage or your Google Plus profile, when you go there, there is a box that will take you to Hangouts, live Hangouts, or Hangouts on air. And when you go to that, it will allow you to find the fellowship. If you go to Hangouts on air, then you will. This is one of the fellowships that would be there. Hangouts on air is what it is. So those are some of the ways that people can either listen to or find us, or if they go to my Google Plus page, my profile page, or Google Plus homepage, they'll also find a link that if they click on it, they can it will take them directly to the broadcast. Okay, so again, praise Yahuwah for that, Akut. Again, I'm a little bit concerned that a lot of our family will have a bit of a tough time finding us today. I'm a little bit concerned in that regards. Nonetheless, they can always go back to YouTube and listen to the recording, because it will be there. Because it's being recorded as we go, and so they can go back to YouTube to listen to the recording. But I'm going to play one more song, and then we're going to prepare to begin, family. I hate to move ahead knowing that So many of our family members are stuck somewhere trying to figure out how to get here. But I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. If this is yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move forward. Okay, on Facebook. So I'm hoping too that the family will go to Facebook and that they'll click on that link that I posted on Facebook, and that should take them. That should also take them here. Um, that should also take them to the hangout. All right. Well, I'm going to play one more song, then we're going to open up in prayer, and and we're going to get into our study for today. Okay. As a matter of fact, I don't know if any one of the family has anything testimony that you would like to share as we prepare to begin today. Then after we pray, we'll come to that, and then we're going to get into our study for today. May Yahuah Barak this fellowship. So I'm going to play one more song, and then we're going to get started. And I'm still hoping that more of our family will be able to figure out how to access the broadcast. All right. Akut Shar, you mentioned something about a flag, Akut. You mentioned, oh, how do you raise the flag? Interesting question. I do not. I think it might be on that Q&A. There's a, or I don't know if you see that Q&A symbol, but I believe perhaps that's where it would be. If you click on that Q&A, I think there's a Q&A. So if you click on that, you should be able to maybe just put in a note, a flag, say something like flag or something like that, and then, or if you don't want to type out an entire question. I'm not sure quite how that works. We're going to figure it out as we go along, but also to Akut, if it's something where you want to come to the mic, then just type flag in the chat box, and I'll see that, and I will, you know, I'll know that you would like to come to the mic. All right. Okay. Now let me just see. I know there's a microphone open. Let me try to figure out which. I'm hearing some kind of feedback. There is a microphone open, so let me see if I can figure out which one that is. And that feedback did go away. All right, I'm going to play one more song, and then we're going to. How does the music sound, family? While the music is playing, does it sound? Is it okay, or is it okay? Great, great. Praise Father. All right. Well, I'm going to play one more song, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up in prayer. We're going to sound shofar, open up in prayer, and we're going to get started on this Shabbat. Hallelujah.
It's never too hard for me to lift my voice and sing about your faithfulness and all the joy you bring. Maker of heaven, maker of the Sabbath, heal me when I'm think on what is lovely, think on what is beautiful. Meditate on everything that you have done and more. Think on what is lovely, think on what is beautiful. Meditate on everything that you have done and more. My heart will sing your praise. I'm praising you. No, I don't
if you ever put that up there, then you shall be able to see, right?
Yeah, commandment. I'm going to play one more song. I'm trying to share the link that Akut Mahalia used to get in. She shared it on Facebook. I'm resharing it.
Meditate on your Torah. It's such a delight. Starting off my day. It's just you and me. And I can't wait to see you face to face. Your love give me reason to wake up. Your love give me reason to smile. Your love gives me so much purpose. Your love is so precious. Your love give me reason to wake up. Your love give me reason to smile. Your love gives me so much purpose. Your love is so precious to me. Everybody wondering why I'm so happy today. Cause Yahuah gave us Yahusha, that's true love to me. If you were in my shoes, I know that you'd be happy too. Because he brought me through, and I hope he does the same for you. Your love gave me reason to wake up. Your love gives me reason to smile. Your love gives me so much purpose. Your love is so precious. Your love gives me reason to wake up. Your love gives me reason to smile. Your love gives me so much purpose. Your love is so precious. To think about all the things Yahuah done for you. Think about all the things Yahuah brought you through. Oh, he's brought you. Think about all the things Yahuah done for you. He's done for you. Think about all the things Yahuah brought you through. And it'll make you smile, 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 smile. Ooh, smile, smile, smile. It'll make you smile. Yahuah makes you smile.
Okay, give me a second.
Yahuah makes you smile. Yahuah makes you smile, 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 smile. Give me reason to wake up, give me reason to wake up, give me reason to smile. Your love gives me so much purpose. Your love is so precious. Your love gives me reason to
All right, praise Yahuah. Let me go ahead and stop this.
I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, Akut.
Okay, praise Yahuah. Well, family, we're going to prepare to begin. I'm going to sound shofar, and we're going to prepare to begin here today. Let me just double check for the microphone. Okay, let me just mute for you, Aki. I see two profiles open for you there, Aki Franklin. Let's see. Okay. Hallelujah. Praises to Yahuah. Hallelujah. I want to begin today, family, as we prepare to go before Yahuah in prayer. I'd like to begin by Tuda Akut Shar Tuda. I'd like to begin by reading from Tahalim. I'm going to read from Tahalim chapter 71. It's Tahalim chapter 71. Let's see. Psalms chapter 71. I'm going to be sharing that on the screen, family. I'll share it with you as soon as Tahalim, Psalm 71. And we'll also, perhaps we may also look at Tahalim, reflect on Tahalim 142, even as we prepare to begin here today. So Tahalim 71 and Tahalim 142. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see how we do that again. Okay, let's see. All right, cameraman. I'm still learning the program here, so bear with me, family, while I learn. Okay, let's see. I have it connected to the television to help my wife to see, and that I'm not sure which screen. It's not showing the right screen. I have a crazy setup here, and so even with that, I'm trying to figure out how to get that to work properly. So I've got to show the right screen. So let me see if I can show the screen that has the text. Let's see if this is it. No, that's not the screen either. And that's not the screen that I want to share. Again, I want to apologize for all of this. You know what, family? I'm gonna go ahead and yes, growing pains indeed, Aki. Because I have a setup that's a little strange, and so it makes sharing my screen not as easy as it should be also. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read. I'm going to just go ahead and read the text, family. Unfortunately, I won't be able to share it as I read, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and read the text here. In you, O Yahuah. You know what? Should I put that other computer over here? Maybe. Would it be easy to do? You'll be able to see it probably more easily, yeah. Go ahead and see it. Okay. In you, O Yahuah, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. In your uprightness, deliver and rescue me. Incline your ear to me and save me. Be to me a rock to dwell in, to go into continually. You have given the command to save me, for you are my rock and my stronghold. Rescue me, O my Elohim, out of the hand of the wrong, out of the hand of the unrighteous and cruel. For you are my expectation, sovereign Yahuwah, my trust from my youth. Upon you I have leaned from my birth. You took me out of my mother's womb. My praise is continually of you. Let me just scroll down so I can see. I have become a wonder to many, but you are my strong refuge. My mouth is filled with your praise, your splendor all the day. Do not cast me off in the time of old age, when my strength fails. Do not forsake me, for my enemies have spoken against me, and those who watch for my life have taken counsel together, saying, Elohim has forsaken him. Pursue and take him, for there is no one to deliver. O Elohim, do not be far from me. My Elohim, hasten to my help. Let those who are adversaries of my life be ashamed, consumed. Let those who seek my evil be covered with reproach and confusion. But I continually wait and shall praise you more and more. My mouth recounts your righteousness, your deliverance all the day. Though I do not know their numbers, I come in the might of the sovereign Yahuwah. I make mention of your righteousness, yours alone. I want to pause for a second, reflect on verse 15. My mouth recounts your uprightness and your deliverance all day long, though I do not know their numbers. And basically what the writer is saying here is that Yahuwah's goodness throughout the day is innumerable and unknown to us. Yahuwah does so much for us even when we don't realize that he does. You do so much for me. You have kept me in so much, and you have kept me from so much, even when I just simply do not recognize, do not realize it. And so he says, my mouth recounts your uprightness, your deliverance all the day, though I do not know their numbers. I come in the might of the sovereign Yahuwah. I make mention of your uprightness, yours alone. Elohim, you have taught me from my youth, and to this day I declare your wonders. And also when I am old and gray, O Elohim, do not forsake me until I declare your strength to a generation, your might to all those who are to come. You know, another thing that the writer expresses here is the fact that the only reason why we continue to exist, the only reason why we live, is because Yahuwah has kept us from our youth. And that's the only reason why we're here. You go on to say, for your righteousness, for your uprightness,
it's on, but can they hear me talking?
Yes, we can.
They can't hear me, but they can't hear me.
Yes, we can. We hear you nice and clear. You can just mute your mic. I can do that for you.
I was on my tablet. I was trying how to figure out how to mute it.
Well, we're glad that you were able to get in, okay? Okay, I'll get it for you. I'll mute it for you. Okay, I think you're muted now, okay? All right. I'm certainly glad that you were able to get in. I've been concerned with much of the family not knowing how to find us, but we give Yahuwah praise that he has guided you. And Shabbat Shalom to you, Aki. So we're reading from the book of Tahalim. Now, because of the way my computer is set up, I can't share it on the screen because I have my computer connected to the television so that my wife can see, and that kind of prohibits what I can share on the screen. You're unable to see it right now. but that's where I'm reading from. I'm reading from Tehillim, or Psalms chapter 71. Verse 19, for your uprightness, for your righteousness, O Elohim, is most high. You who have done great deeds, O Elohim, who is like you? You who have shown me great and evil distresses, revive me again and bring me up again from the depths of the earth. You increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. You know, even as we read this, you increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. It reminds me of something I think I'd like to, a testimony that I'd like to share with you today, family, as we prepare to get into our fellowship. I think I'd like to share this testimony with you, in that it's a review that I got at the job. And the only reason why I'm going to share it is to give Yahuah the esteem that only He alone deserves. And so I want to share this review with you, to give Yahuah the esteem that only He alone deserves. Because I like to tell people, and this is a fact, number one, that I'm not so brilliant. I'm really not so smart, you see. And whatever abilities, whatever I'm able to do, and whatever I'm able to accomplish, it's only because of the favor of Yahuah. I can take absolutely no credit for that, you see. And so I want to share that review with you as a testimony to the greatness of Yahuah. When Yahuah said that He has kept us, when the writer here says that you have kept me from my youth, and it is only because of you that I exist today. And you know, family, oftentimes when we find ourselves in situations, when we find ourselves in the midst of stuff, we can sometimes forget the fact that Yahuah has kept us to this point. That the only reason why we are where we are right now is because Yahuah kept us. Sometimes we can forget that. And when we forget that, then we seem to become overcome with the thought that this is going to be the end of me. When in fact, just like the writer states in verse 15, you have done much good for me throughout every single day, more than I can number. Things that I know nothing about you have done, and so my mouth praise you for that. And so Yahuah continues to do us good all day long. And sometimes because we don't see what He is doing, then because we don't see it, then we don't realize it, and so we take it for granted, you see. But we give Yahuah praise, honor, and esteem for His goodness, and it's only because He has kept us. It's only because that He has been with us, even from our youth, even when we did not know Him, but yet He knew us. And He kept us to this point. And if He has brought us to this point, He'll certainly bring us further. He's able to bring us through whatever it is that we're going through. And so it's important for us to keep that in mind and to give Yahuah the esteem that He does deserve. You see, there is nothing that we can take credit for, but we must truly give Yahuah the esteem. So he says, verse 19, for your uprightness, for your righteousness, O Elohim, is most high. You who have done great deeds, O Elohim, who is like you? You who have shown me great and evil distresses, revive me again and bring me up again from the depths of the earth. You increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. Also with the lyre I praise you for your trustworthiness, O my Elohim. I sing to you with the lyre. O set apart one of Yasharal. Notice that he did not say to set apart ones of Yasharal. And this is important. I didn't come to this text to teach, family. I just came to read it to give Yahuah praise even today. To reflect on the goodness of Yahuah, to reflect on the greatness of Yahuah, and to encourage you also in whatever it is that you might be going through. Because family, when we're faced with distresses, when we're faced with sicknesses, when we're faced with all kinds of burdens and even diseases, sometimes we can lose sight of the greatness of Yahuah, and it is good to reflect on the testimony of Yahuah's greatness. And so that's why I came here to this text today, for us to reflect on Yahuah's greatness, for us to be reminded of His goodness, for us to be reminded of Him keeping us. But I can't help but to point out that even as we read and as we reflect on the greatness of Yahuah, this is how great Yahuah is. Yahuwah is so great that he does not need any help from anyone else. There is none beside him. There is none beside him. No one else. Yahuwah is so great, he does it all by himself. That's the greatness of Yahuwah. And that's why the text says here. So if somebody says that Yahusha is somebody different than Yahuwah, if somebody says that we have 3 mighty ones in the heavens, or 4 mighty ones, or 10 mighty ones, or whatever mighty ones, then they're not talking about Yahuwah. You see, that's pagan idolatry. We serve the one Yahuwah, and that's what it says here in the book of Tehillim, chapter 71 and verse 22. Also with the lyre I praise you for your trustworthiness, O my Elohim. I sing to you with the lyre, O set apart one of Yasharal, the one Yahuwah, the Akkad Yahuwah. My lips shout for joy when I sing to you, even my being which you have redeemed. Yes, it is Yahuwah that redeems us, the one Yahuwah, Yahuah Yahusha, who redeems us. My tongue too utters your righteousness all day long. For those who have been seeking my evil have been put to shame, have become abashed. Hallelujah. And so we give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem again for his greatness. There's one other text that I'd like to read as we prepare to turn our faces toward the set apart place of Yahuwah and open up in prayer here today. I'd like to go to Tehillim, Psalms 142. Let's seek to bring remembrances and encouragement to you concerning Yahuwah's greatness. I cry out to Yahuwah with my voice. I pray to Yahuwah with my voice. I pour out my complaints before him. I declare before him my distress. When my spirit grew faint within me, then you know my path. In the way in which I walk, they have hidden a trap for me. Look to the right hand and see, and no one is concerned for me. No refuge remains to me. No one inquires after my being. Bear with me while I scroll down here, family. This is a little glitchy here. Look to the right, not the system, just me trying to maneuver. Look to the right and see, and no one is concerned for me. No refuge remains to me. No one inquires about my being. Have you ever been in that place where you feel like you're all alone and no one is concerned? Where the enemy lays a trap directly in your path, the very place where you know you got to walk, there he is, laying in wait for you. Have you ever been in that place? And so he says, look to the right and see, and no one is concerned for me. No refuge remains to me. No one inquires after my being. I cried out to you, O Yahuwah. I said, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Hallelujah. Listen to my cry, for I am brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. Bring my being out of prison, to give thanks to your name. Let the righteous gather around me, because you deal kindly with me. Hallelujah. Bring my being out of prison. That's the cry of my heart today for our people who are afflicted, for our people who are suffering from sicknesses and diseases. Bring our being out of prison, to give thanks to your name. Sometimes it can be difficult to give thanks, and that's just real. Sometimes it can be difficult to give thanks when you're overwhelmed by sickness and oppression. Sometimes it can be difficult to praise when you're overwhelmed by sickness and disease. So he cry out, bring my being out of prison so that I can give thanks to your name. Bring my being out of prison to give thanks to your name. Let the righteous gather around me. Let the set apart gather around me. Let the upright gather around me, because you deal kindly with me. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah.
Okay.
Share those readings with you today, family. And I encourage you to go back and to read them for yourself and to meditate upon them. And I see Yahuah was able to join us here a moment ago, but for some reason, she is off again. And maybe she got a little, the feedback. She probably thought, oh, I've got to figure out how to mute the mic or something. But I see she was able to join us. Hopefully she can get back in. And so little by little, I hope the family will figure out how to get in here if I had enough time. Shabbat shalom to you, Yahuah. Wonderful to know that you're here. And I'm going to mute your mic for you. It is great to see you, Akut. Shabbat shalom. All right. So we're going to turn our faces toward the set-apart place of Yahuah now, family, as we prepare to continue with our fellowship. And as I mentioned before, I want to open up the mic to testimonies. If you have a testimony, you want to exalt Yahuah, if you want to esteem Yahuah today, by recounting his goodness, by recounting something that he has done in your life, even as we prepare to go a bit deeper into our fellowship here, I'd like for you to feel free to come to the mic, family. Again, the way you can let us know is by just typing flag in the chat box. We're still learning this program, and I'm liking it so far. I have a few challenges, but with time, I believe that we're going to get over these challenges, and so I'm liking it so far. I see your flag, Akut. Please go ahead, Akut Sharia, please go ahead. And Akut Sharia, you're able to turn your camera off. You might have to do it as you're coming in. I'm not sure. Yeah, there you go. I think you got it figured out. Okay, praise Yahuah. Please go ahead, Akut Shar.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Mashpaka. I hope and pray that I can be heard.
Yes, you can. Nice and clear.
Okay. I don't have too much to say, but praise and just praise, all the praise to Yahuah, for he is worthy of all praise. I'm just so thankful that he has given us another venue where we can come together and esteem his name continually, and just so thankful. And just want to say, halal Yahuah, Baruch Atah Yahuah, and Shabbat Shalom, Mashpaka. I'll release the mic.
Praise Yahuah, Halahu Yahuah, and indeed we say Tuda Yahuah, and we give him praise, honor, and esteem. We thank him for this venue, and this venue is really a lot better in a lot of ways than Fuse, because I love the clarity, and not only that, it's being live streamed on YouTube. So if someone want to listen in, even if they're not in the room, they can go to the YouTube channel, or if they come across the YouTube channel, they can live stream. And so they are hearing us right now on YouTube. And then it also records, where you can go back later and then you can listen to the fellowship there, the live recorded fellowship. And so I see Aki Maganyahu's flag. Please go ahead, Aki. My only concern right now is for the family who has not yet figured out how to join us. And so we're going to be working on trying to get everybody familiar with how the program works and how they'll be able to join the fellowship. And so that's an ongoing process, because I myself am learning also. Let me know too, family. I'd like your feedback here on how if you come to the mic and I leave my microphone open, does it create a feedback? Do you hear feedback in the room? Please let me know so that I know whether or not I should mute my mic, or if I have to mute my mic when someone comes to the mic. So I appreciate that feedback. Aki Maganyahu, please go ahead, Aki.
Tuda Aki for the microphone. Shabbat Shalom, family. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Nice and clear, Aki.
Praise Yah. This is a much better venue, Aki. The clarity is better, and I'm watching my computer. I have some just graphs monitoring what I use, and this is a lot easier on your computers, I noticed.
Right.
At least mine anyway. I don't know about anybody else's, but I've been watching it, and it's a much easier program to run. So praise Yahuwah for that. And I wanted to give Yahuwah praise also, a key, and just to you had mentioned that you praising Yahuwah for a good report at work, and I wanted to say that Yahuwah allowed another job offer to come in. So I got a phone call yesterday from another place I'd interviewed with, and I had to tell them I already took another offer, and they were disappointed. But he said, if this doesn't work out, please call. Praise Yahuwah for that favor. That's amazing. It feels good to know that Yahuwah allowed that. He didn't have to. He really didn't have to, but he did. So, and also I met some new friends from the Virgin Islands last night, and we stayed up and talked about the world, politics, religion, truth, about 1 in the morning. And we had a great conversation. And I've been meeting a lot more people from the islands down here, and they're different. Their view is different. Their behavior is different. How they see people is different. And I like it. So I wanted to give Yahuwah praise for that. I was able to plant some seeds, and we'll see how that goes. So just wanted to praise Yahuwah this morning, family, or this afternoon, family. So I'm going to mute the mic.
Praise Yahuwah. And to the for sharing. Just to get a bit of feedback, Aki Maganyahu was on, and my microphone was open. Were there any feedback in the room, family? It's a part of the learning process here, so let me know. None. Great. Praise Yahuwah. Okay, so we truly give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem for that testimony, Aki, and for the favor of Yahuwah that is on your life. Hallelujah. We truly barak Yahuwah for that. Hallelujah. And oftentimes and sometimes and many times we're accustomed to hearing people say, or maybe we have even said it, we've used the term, when it rains, it pours, right? And we're always talking about it in a sense of problems and troubles and suffering and chaos and turmoil. But how about when you have Yahuwah in your corner? When you have the favor of Yahuwah on your life, and he rains upon you. When he rains, it pours. You see, because the favor of Yahuwah, that's what we just read. The favor of Yahuwah is innumerable. Yahuwah does so much good for us on a daily basis, more than we know, more than we are able to number, because we really don't know all that he does for us. You see, and so we truly give Yahuwah praise and esteem for that. Hallelujah. Indeed, he opened the floodgates, absolutely. Praise Yahuwah. And so we barak Yahuwah for that. We barak Yahuwah for his favor upon his people. We barak Yahuwah for continuing to keep us. You see, we truly barak Yahuwah. Now, family, I notice, I don't think I see Akut Al Yashaba. Is Akut Al Yashaba here? Did we lose Akut Al Yashaba? It seems as if we might have. I don't see Akut Al Yashaba. I'm not. Okay, yes, because she was here, but it seems as if we lost her. I don't see her. And again, it's a learning experience here. And before you know it, I believe we'll all be pros at this, and everything will go as smooth as it should go. Once again, too, I want to say, family, an easy way to find us too is if you go to Google Plus, go to your Google Plus homepage, and if you go to my Google Plus page, at least there you should see the broadcast. It says live, or if you go to live hangouts, you should be able to find it there, or via the links that I share on Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up in prayer, and then I'm going to come back for some more testimonies, family, and I'm going to read my review from work. Well, I'll see, and we'll go from there. Okay. Praise Yahuah. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuah. Father, we barak you and we say Tudah for this day. Tudah Yahuah for this platform. Tudah for taking us into new territory. Father, we thank and praise you for your guidance, for your wisdom, for your barakah. Say Tudah for this day of rest. We thank you for the opportunity and the ability to rest from our labors and to assemble together to seek your face and to esteem your great name. And so even as we come before you today, Father, we're in a learning process. We're learning how this thing works. And so we need your help, Yahuah. We need your guidance. Father, we ask that you would continue to lead us because it is on you that we rely for all things. We pray, Yahuah, that for those of our family who are having a tough time getting into the
praise Yahuwah for you guys.
Yahuah, that you will
Thank you so much. Thank you. I got Will on the other line. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Okay. Shalom. Okay?
Yes, okay.
We can hear you.
Uh-oh, let me, oh my goodness.
I turned myself.
I want to, let me block. Where's my mic? Oh.
I'll get it for you. Okay.
Oh, I see, but my mic is crossed.
No, it looks crossed, but you'll have to press it again.
Okay, it's crossed.
There you go. Okay, and you can do the same for your camera, Coot. Just press your camera. It looks crossed, but when you press it, it will be actually red instead of grayscale. And they'll turn your camera off. So just click on the camera, and it'll turn it off.
Okay, I got it. I got a key. It has to be red. I didn't understand that.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I tell you, you're so brilliant. Thank you.
Oh. Praise Father. Oh, she cracks me up with that. Really not a coot. Well, praise Yahuwah. Well, yes, once again, we just say thank you. We say Tudah Yahuwah. We ask that you would have your way in our midst and in this fellowship today. And again, we are learning, and so we need your help. Our dependence is on you, and I pray, Yahuwah, that you would guide your people, and you would bring them to this place, and that we would be able to fellowship in your word, that we would continue to learn and grow in you, and above all, that we would esteem you and esteem your great name. And so we ask for your favor, even as we assemble today. Barak this time, I pray. In Yahusha's name. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah. Well, again, we give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem. Just click on your mic, Akut, until it, not your mic, your camera, and it will turn red, and that will tell you that your camera is muted. So we give Yahuwah praise, but just to go back to what Akut al-Yashba said, well, I certainly can't take credit for any brilliance that may exist. It's truly Yahuwah. You know, when I was growing up, I grew up in Jamaica, and I had asthma as a kid. I was asthmatic, and because of that, I missed a lot of days in school. So if it wasn't asthma that was keeping me out of school, it was a lack of resources, whether it be that my family didn't have the money to pay because you had to pay to be in school. So whether it be that my family didn't have the money to pay, or I didn't have any clothes to wear to go to school, or I didn't have shoes. And for a long time in my younger years, I went to school barefooted. So from kindergarten to to about grade, I think it was about the third grade or so. I went to school barefooted. And then as I got older, what kept me from school again was resources or sickness. So I missed a lot of time from school. And for that reason, I'm surprised. I didn't think much about it back then, but now I reflect on it and I think about it. I'm surprised that when I got to the 7th grade, they told my parents that they would be keeping me back. They would be hindering me if they kept me in high school. They recommended that I go to college. When I got to the 7th grade, but that wasn't an option. We couldn't afford it. And so what they did was, basically in Jamaica, the school system, they have what you call, I don't remember how they call it now. It's an English system. But so what they did was they gave me a scholarship, and that put me in, guess what they call secondary high school. That's the next step before college. Put me in that category, and then I went through that and I graduated, and I got a scholarship to go to a junior college. And then I went on, I took the scholarship and I went on, but I only stayed in for a year because I needed to go to work to help my grandmom and to help my family. And so I only stayed a year in junior college. Now, again, while I wasn't able to go to school because of sickness or resources, what I did do was every opportunity that I got and everything that I can find, I use it as a teaching tool. You know, I try to study as much as possible and to educate myself as much as possible is what I did. And so really, it's the favor of Yahuah, but we also have a responsibility. So, you know, I try to put the work in even when I was hindered, you see. And that kind of comes back around to where we are, even with my testimony. So over the years, I've been able to hold different positions, jobs. And by the way, nobody gave me a job and gave me a position because I walked in with some degree, because I don't have one. Because I walked in with a degree and said, you know, here are my qualifications and I should have this position because of this qualification or that qualification. But in my jobs over the years, I've gone in and applied for, you know, whatever is available. I just want to work. But because of the favor of Yahuah and my drive to learn and to work hard, I've always been, there's not a job that I've held that I've not been promoted to a position of leadership. There's not a job that I've held that I've not promoted me to a position such as that. And the amazing thing about that is that, again, because of me being a person who lacked the resources growing up, I don't have a college degree. I don't have, you know, I don't have the stuff that goes with some of these jobs that I've held, you know. But because I start at the bottom and I work hard and and the favor of Yahuah on my life, because as Dahoud says, my promotion comes neither from the east nor from the west, but it comes from Yahuah, you know. And so Yahuah's favor combined with hard work has propelled me in these situations, but not because Yes, indeed. Yahuwah is all I need. Absolutely a key. And he has certainly proven that time and time again. You know, he's certainly proven that time and time again. And so you see, family, that's really all we need. And I don't look at my achievements as me being super brilliant or super bright, because I'm not. Believe me, I'm not. I don't at all feel like I'm even close to it. You see? I don't feel like it. I know my limitations. I know that I'm not that bright. You see? So it's the favor of Yahuwah combined with some hard work and dedication on my part. And because I know that I'm not super bright, and I know that I got to work double hard or triple hard in order to get somewhere, you see. And so it doesn't come. And my point here too, as I say this, to our people, and I hope that some young people might even hear this also, because we're under the assumption that brilliance is something that just comes. Oh, you're brilliant, you don't have to do anything. You're just smart, and it's going to happen for you because you're just smart. You're smart, I'm dumb. It's not going to happen for me because, you see, you were born with smarts, but I wasn't born with no smarts. No. Listen, family, the system have told us that we, being who we are, cannot achieve anything because of who we are. Let me say that again. The system have told us from a long time ago, they've been indoctrinating us with this. The system has told us that we cannot achieve anything because we are who we are. You see, you can't learn because your brain is smaller than ours. You're not smart, you see, because you're only 3/5 of a human being. You're not fully developed. The system have told us all these things, and we have bought into it. And so from that now, we now say, and we now have this belief that certain people are brilliant naturally, but I'm not. You see, it comes easy for them, but for me, it's just not going to happen because we have bought the lie. But it is my sincere belief that everybody has the ability to learn. Now, of course, it might take a little bit more for one person than another person. I might have to read something 10 times to get it. Somebody else might have to read it 5 times, or somebody else might have to read it 15 times, or whatever the case is. But if we decide that we're going to work hard and we're going to we're going to commit ourselves, then we'll get it. You see, we just learn at different pace, right? But it doesn't just, it's not. Now, of course, you have people who are given titles and degrees. I'm talking about people who don't know nothing, but because somebody know them and they know somebody, then they're given titles and degrees. They're given positions. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really gaining knowledge that cannot be taken from you. You see, that's what I'm talking about. And all of us have that ability. It might take more time for some than for others, but we all have that ability. And so we can't make the excuse that, well, you're smart, but I'm not. You'll learn, but I can't learn. No, that's the lie that they sold us, and we cannot by no means continue to believe that lie. Okay? Now, so with that said, I started to say that in every job that I've held, since I was 19 years old, in every job that I've held since I was 19, and I haven't held many. And there's only one job that I've held since I was 19. There's only one job that I've held since I was 19, is having troubles with a computer. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, Tada, Akud, Tada. Yes, I think there are some more issues with her computer. Her computer needs a cleaning. Now, Yeah, so with every job that I've held, except for one, Yahuwah has seen fit to promote me to a place of leadership, managing others. The one job that was not the case, it was with a family-owned business who, they had a way of, they knew how to cover up their racism. They were racist. They knew how to cover up their racism. And somebody might say, "Oh, you just say that because they didn't give you a leading position." No, I don't say that because of that, but I have the evidence of it. For example, they would never put me in a place where they knew I was capable of functioning. One day I walked in the office, and one of the brothers was having a conversation with one of my co-workers, somebody that works for him, and they're talking about his daughter having gotten pregnant by a guy from Africa. And this guy came to America to go to school in America because he was his family was royal, from some tribe, royal tribe. So he was the son of a king, and so he came here to America to go to school. Met my boss's daughter. So he's a prince. Met my boss's daughter in school, and she got pregnant by him. And his family came over. It was something like coming to America, And his family came over to meet her, but they didn't want to meet them. So he was telling, and basically he's making jokes about this guy, and he's telling his employee about the fact that his daughter got pregnant by a nigger. And I just happened to be walking into the office the moment this is coming out of his mouth, and he was shocked. He wanted to apologize. He was trying to apologize. They didn't mean it like that and all that stuff, Anyway, I was at that job for a little while, and then they wouldn't give me a promotion. They would just have me doing, considered me a helper, and they would have me driving all over the place, delivering stuff, and that's all basically. I mean, if I do go out, when I do go out in the field, I'd just be a helper, and they wouldn't, whatever. They told me they weren't paying me to think. Anyway, I decided, an opportunity came up, and I decided to leave. So when I told them that I was going to leave, that's when they wanted to give me I believe it was $3 more, plus they wanted to give me a company truck. Okay, they wanted to give me a promotion, but by this time I'd already decided that I was going to leave. So that was the only job since 19 years old that I've been in where I never was in a role of leadership. And again, it's only because of Yahuwah's favor. And the reason why I pointed out is because I wasn't placed in these positions because of my credentials, because I have some degree to show to my employers and say, here are my accomplishments. It's simply the favor of Yahuwah combined with hard work, And so the job that I'm currently in is really no different. When I took this job, I applied for the job for whatever position. I was unemployed for 3 years because I'd gotten laid off, and I was just looking for a job. And when I put the application in, I didn't think that they were going to call me, but they did call me several months later, and I went in for an interview, and well, I got a phone interview, and then after the phone interview, they called me in for an interview, and after the interview, I knew that I'd gotten a job. They didn't tell me I did, but the interview went well, and I just had the sense that I got the job. So then they called me and told me when my start date was going to be, so on and so forth. So I started working in the shipping department. Now I have a little bit of experience with shipping, but not from the perspective of what I do, because the previous job that I was in, I was tasked with overseeing the shipment of some real expensive stuff. And that's as far as it went, just overseeing the shipment, basically keeping up with material movement, you know, with keeping up with paperwork. That's all I did. That's as far as me and shipping went. Anyway, I got this position. They put me in the shipping department. When I started in the shipping department, the guy that was in charge of the shipping department, at every turn from the time that I started there to this very day, he would always be trying. Unfortunately, it's our people. But he'd always be trying to make me look bad. He'd walk around whispering stuff, telling people about I'm slow, I'm this, I'm that. I mean, it's endless. He just tried to put people against me. Why, I do not know. Now, this is the same person who, when we had tragedy in our family, where we lost our son, and we really weren't in a position to come up with the finances for the funeral. He wrote at the funeral home a check for $1,000, even though he was fighting against me. Yet Yahuah used him to barack us in that way. Okay, so this was my boss. He's over the shipping department. Okay, and he fought me every which way you can think of, and even to this day, he's still not genuine. But a little while after that, after starting, and even in spite of all of his fighting, and even in spite of all the negative stuff that he go about and he says, Yahuah saw fit to demote him and then to give me his position. Now, he's been with the company for 20-something years, but now Yahuah makes me his boss. Okay? And the interesting thing is, me being his boss, I don't treat him the way he used to treat me when he was my boss. So Yahuah make me his boss, and also set me over the rest of the people that work in the shipping department. Okay? And you know what's interesting, Akut? There's another guy there who started not too long ago. He started about a little over a year ago. And this guy is just like this guy. He run around saying stuff about me that's not true. And I know what his problem is. He is one of those guys. Let me tell you, I don't know if you encounter anybody like this. You ever run into those people who talk about this is America, speak English? And everything is America and how good America used to be. Yeah, he's one of those guys. Okay, he's one of those guys. And he don't like the fact that a black man is over him. He boasts about how many people he used to supervise. Yes, he's a Donald Trump disciple. He boasts about how many people he was over in his old job and all of this stuff. So he's that kind of guy, you know. And so he don't like the fact that I'm in the position that I'm in. And so he likes to challenge my authority. And I'm not in no competition with him. I have a job to do and I'm going to do it, you know, but he likes to challenge my authority, and I don't get excited. I don't get you know, what you flustered or whatever, you know. When it's time to respond and act to a situation, I respond and act in a professional manner, and in a sensible manner, you know. So you don't like that. So he has his issues. Anyway, so Yahuah saw fit, excuse me, Yahuah saw fit to put me in over this department. Now, I just received a review, and I want to share some of it with you. Now, the maximum rating that you can get on any of these points, the maximum rating is a 5. And I've gotten a 4 in everything except one. There was one area where I got a 3, but in everything else I got a 4, which means the way I interpret that is I have work to do. There's still work to be done, but I praise Yahuah for his favor and for giving me the wisdom and the knowledge to function in this role, you see. So yes, they absolutely acute. So there is room for improvement, but considering that I've never worked in this position before, and I was put in a position to manage not just myself, but to manage the entire department, and to receive such a feedback, I give Yahuah praise, honor, and esteem. So I want to read a bit of it, family, here as a testimony to Yahuah's greatness, to his favor upon our lives, because this is not just me, you see, but Yahuah will do this for any one of us. We submit to him, I believe, truly. Now, so let me read a couple here. Starting off with dependability. Dependability. Now, this is what my boss, this is his words. These are his words. So I'm going to read dependability. Dependability. I got a 4, a rating of 4 out of 5. Okay? And so what 4 says is, seldom absent or tardy, always notifies manager about attendance in advance. So notify people who I'm supposed to report to if I'm going to be late or if I have to take time off. And I'm hardly ever absent from work. Okay, so I got a rating of 4. Now this is the comments that goes with that. Michael consistently arrives at work before the start of his shift, but often is just in time. That's me. I'm often just in time. He is rarely absent and always gives advance notice of any requested time off. Michael is extremely dependable, he said. Okay. Now, the next one is quality and quantity of work. Okay, and this one, consider whether work is presentable, accurate, and completed in allotted time period. Now, this is what he says. I got a 4 out of 5 on that one also, and it says, 4 out of 5 says, a rating of 4 says, sets high standards for work produced, exceeds acceptable standards for volume and time expectations. So that's the rating of 4. Now, these are the comments. Michael sets high standards for himself as well as the site logistics team at Pennsauken. Productivity in the logistics area improved under his leadership in the past year. Michael consistently goes beyond the expectations of his role. He truly works with an owner's mindset and with the best interest of our customers, our employees, and the community in mind. That being said, quality in the logistics area needs to be better. There were a number of complaints related to incorrect GMID quantities on loads which adversely impacted customers and ultimately added cost to the site. Load verifications were not consistently done by the logistics team last year. I will need Michael's support and leadership to reduce these incidents in 2016. Now, and so what he is saying there, what happened is that new gentleman that I spoke about earlier, who always boasts about how many people he has managed. Last year, he led us in what we call QMs, shipping the wrong stuff. We had 17 wrong shipments last year. Of course, we do thousands of shipments every year, but we had 17. We had 17, and the majority was his, and I was not personally responsible for any, but yet I am responsible because I lead the department, and so therefore I have to make sure that things are in place, even though they were, but they weren't being followed the way they should be. So ultimately it comes back to me, but that's what that was about. I'm going to jump forward here. Competency. On competency, this consider technical and procedural knowledge, ability to comprehend, and the amount of supervision needed. In competency, I got a 4 also, 4 out of 5. It says strong knowledge base and expertise, able to handle routine tasks and tasks that fall outside of scope of normal duties with no assistance. And the comments were, Michael has a strong logistics background. only it would seem that way, but I don't. Michael has a strong logistics background, and he effectively utilizes his knowledge and experience to the benefit of the team and the site. He has continued to grow his understanding of Dell logistics work processes and further developed his proficiency in SAP. He understands and supports the development of procedures in the logistics area. He requires little supervision and provides effective guidance to the logistics team. Okay, I'm gonna see what else. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's quite a bit. Initiative. Consider the extent to which the employee offers creative suggestions and assumes additional duties when necessary. On this, I got a 5 out of 5. And he says 5 out of 5 says a self-starter assumes responsibility for work, independently performs unassigned duties. Comments. Michael is a self-starter. He has an owner's mindset and takes pride in his work. He routinely raises concerns, for example, safety, quality, logistics, and suggests improvements to work processes and procedures. He is quick to address any issues and consistently volunteers to help out wherever needed. Okay, all right. And there's another one where I got 5 out of 5. Teamwork, I got 5 out of 5. Michael maintains an excellent working relationship with his colleagues, both on the logistics team as well as across the Pennsauken site. Michael does a good job communicating across the team. Example, weekly emails, provides regular feedback, and routinely recognizes others. He is quick to help others, although this can sometimes come at his expense when the workload is too heavy. Michael has also gotten favorable feedback from the Pennsauken staff as well as colleagues in the supply chain and logistics function. So family, this is an example. I am not reading the entire thing, but that's an example of the review that I just received. And I can take no credit. I really can take no credit. Number one, it's Yahuah that gives me the ability to work. It is Yahuah that gives me the ability to understand. It is Yahuah that gives me the ability to lead. It is Yahuah. It's only Yahuah, and so I can take no credit, and it is the favor of Yahuah that puts me in that position. And so I truly give Yahuah praise, honor, and esteem. And I believe that it's important for us to share these things, that Yahuah may be praised, And so that's the reason why I wanted to share that with you today, family, to give Yahuah the esteem that he deserves. I started off talking about my experience growing up and how much time I lost in school, to make the point that it is simply the favor of Yahuah that allows me to retain and to learn, because I did lose out on a lot of time in school, but yet Yahuah still allowed me to continue to learn and to develop. And so I truly want to give Yahuah the praise, honor, and esteem that he deserves. And so that's my testimony for this week, family. Before we go any further, I'd like to open up the mic. I don't know if there are any comments or testimony that you would like to share today, family, but please feel free to do so. Again, if you want to come to the mic, just write flag and you can come to the mic. But I'd certainly like to open up the mic to you, should you want to do so. By the way, Aki Maganyahu shared his testimony earlier on concerning Yahuah's favor in granting him a new job, and as he granted him a new job, another opportunity came along, and they were disappointed to hear that he had just taken another position. But that's again Yahuah's favor, and we truly give Yahuah praise, honor, and esteem for that. Akut Shar also shared with us earlier. Yes, Akut Shar. Yes, Akut Shar came to the mic. What? You came to the mic, right, Akut Shar? Yes. Yes. And I think you had to take the call. Yes. Yes, she came to the mic briefly. Yes. All right. So Okay, so all right. Well, if there's no one else, what we're gonna do, family. I know we're missing a lot of family here today because again we're in transition. We're in transition, and it's a part of the challenge in the process, right? For everybody to catch on and to figure out how this thing really works. It is perhaps my hope too that for the rest of the family who's having a hard time finding us here on Google Plus, um, then maybe they might go to the website, go to the YouTube site, and they can actually listen live. They won't be able to participate in the way that you participate, where you're able to type, put text in the box, or you're able to come to the mic, but they can hear everything that goes on. Won't be able to see the text, but they'll be able to hear everything that goes on. Please go ahead, Akut Yariya.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, I can be heard. Praise
Yes,
Yahuwah.
you can. Yes, you can, Akut.
All right. I just feel compelled to just to give the Father esteem because He is truly worthy, and no matter what our circumstances are in our life, He is able. And I just wanted to say that because I don't think we can say it enough.
Yes.
And I just wanted to bring that forth. Halal Yahuwah, Baruch atah Yahuwah Eloheinu melech haolam ad olam, and just give Him praise.
Praise
I know that He loves us, and we're learning how to love Him through our life and through obedience. So I just thank Him for that and for His patience. He is truly patient with us. So praise be to Yahuwah, and I just wanted to share that. Amen.
Praise Yahuwah, and Tudah for sharing, Akut. Tudah. I know you came in. You came in as I'd already started reading from Tahalim chapter 71, Akut, and maybe 142. But even as I was reading that, and we were reading and we were thinking about you. So if you didn't have a chance to hear the entire reading, then I want to encourage you, Akut, to look at that. Tahlim chapter 71 and also Tahlim 142. All right. Now, because of my, okay, you're welcome, Akut. Ayanda Bar.
Share something real quick. Just
Okay.
I didn't really want to share, but Coach Yariah just mentioned something, saying, praise Yahuwah for His patience with us, and the love that He has for us.
Mm-hmm.
I had got a visit from a young lady about a week or two ago. About one of my son's older friends.
Mm-hmm.
She's a friend back from when maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. About 4 years now. And from time to time she pops up, comes see me. Well, about 2 weeks ago she popped up. Well, she had been calling when we could never, we were missing each other. And so she called, asked could she just come by for a minute. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So she came by and she brought me a gift. And the gift was a bracelet. It was a Pandora bracelet. Now, a lot of people make big fuss over these bracelets because of the different charms that you can put on there. And, I mean, they're cute, but, not particularly my style. But the reason why I was amazed is because, number one, this is someone who I'm not really affiliated with. I mean, it's not somebody I talk to all the time. Nobody I would expect to get a gift from. So, I'm giving esteem to Yahuwah because of the little charm she put on there, and she put a crown on there. And I said, a crown? Of all of the things, of all the charms that she could have put on there, she said, well, I think that you're a queen. I'm like, oh, okay, really? So I'm smiling. I'm like, okay. So I said, you know, I almost got a little choked up in front of her. So I'm like, you know what? This means a lot to me, and you know, you may not understand, but it's very symbolic to me right now. And I was telling my husband that a crown is associated with royalty. So for him to send someone my way that I would at least expect a gift from, you know, at a time in my life where I needed a reminder that he remembers the path that I take. He remembers where I am right now. And though, you know, I can be found smiling a whole lot of times, in my ruach, I am very saddened by the situation of my two oldest loves, you know, and I don't want to downplay the men's in the room feelings for their children, but I know the women can relate. You know, your first child is like a first love to you, you know, and then every child after that, it's like you fall in love all over again, you know. So I've been, you know, somewhat down because of that. And again, like I said, I can always be found smiling. That's why one of the names I used to use in the room was always smiling, you know. But I definitely needed that reminder from him. And then for him to use a crown, and then to use someone, this young lady, as a matter of fact, it wasn't that, you know, she wants to be in my son's life again because she's now with child. She came here pregnant with another man's child, and, you know, she's moved on with her life. We even, you know, got a chance to talk about that. But I definitely felt like that was Yahuah reminding me that I belong to him, and also who he is. Because not so much that I am a queen, but that he is the king. He is the Messiah. You know, so king of all, you know. So I just wanted to share that testimony. You know, this happened a couple weeks ago, but I just want him to know, you know, in the company of other people, that I give him all esteem, and I thank him. Thank you for the reminder, God. Because I'm definitely not perfect. Not that I'm out there in the streets living crazy, y'all, or I'm a wild person, but I am not a perfect person. So when Akut Yariah mentioned that his patience with us, I started smiling and chuckling because I'm like, yes, his patience with us. So halal Yahuah, toda Abba Yahuah Yahusha, for just even knowing me.
Praise Father. Hallelujah. He said we are a royal priesthood and a set apart nation unto him. And so it is indeed an amazing reminder, and especially from the perspective of someone who, you know, for Yahuah to use someone who doesn't know, who's clueless concerning who we are, Yahuwah's ways, how Yahuah sees his people, and to present something as symbolic as as the crown of a queen, you know, to her, it certainly does.
She's a young lady too. She's only 19 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, so for her to go out of her way and purchase something for me, like, of all people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yahuah has ways of he said that he shows us that he'll speak to us even through a donkey, even through an ass. He'll speak to us. There are times when he, you know, whether it be for encouragement or to show his power, to show his strength, he'll speak to us. And he knows where we are, and he knows what we are able to relate to in that moment. And he'll speak to us in a way that we hear and that we know, that he sees and he knows where we are. And so we praise Yahuah for that. All right. So we're gonna move on, family. With we're gonna get into our study for today. It's a little bit unusual here. Getting used to this entire thing is a little, it's going to be different. And prayerfully next week we'll be more accustomed to how it works, and then um, each week following, we hope to get more familiar. Okay, but what we're going to do now is we're going to go to we're going to get into our study for today. Now, when we do go to break, what I've learned is that once you stop this broadcast, then you actually have to create a new broadcast in order to continue. So it'll be interesting when we stop this broadcast for break. Then when it's time to come back on, I'll have to create a new live broadcast, which you'll have to basically I'll add the invite, but or you can go to again the Google homepage or my Google profile page to get a link to that new broadcast. So that's how that's going to go. Once I stop this broadcast, that will be it for this broadcast. When I come back on after the break, I'll have to start a new broadcast. Okay? The only way that this broadcast would continue is if I just continue to let something play in the meantime, whether it be music or a video, then it continues to play. But I don't know if I necessarily want to do that, because when somebody goes back to watch it, and it's a really long broadcast, and if they want to figure out where to get to for the lesson, then that makes it a little bit difficult. I don't think Akut Joan is here. I had tagged her on Facebook, but I'm not sure. With Fuse, you have to download the what they call, not with Fuse, with Google Plus, you have to download a I forget what it's called, and you have to do it in Internet Explorer, and that can be a little bit tricky. You have to download the plugin, and it has to be in Internet Explorer. That was the issue that we had last week, that I was having last week, why we weren't able to get on, why we had to go back to Fuse for Foundational Facts Fellowship, because when I went to download the plugin, I didn't realize that I had to choose Internet Explorer in order to download it and for it to work. And so that created some issues, and I just didn't realize it. Oh, okay, yeah, so she went to Fuse thinking that we're going to be there. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, and I'm afraid that others might have gone to Fuse also thinking we're going to be there. May have forgotten. I tried throughout the week to send information out by Facebook and on Google Plus to make everyone aware, to remind everyone that this was where we're going to be. So it's going to take a little while to catch on, but to the Akut, yes. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, so unfortunately that's the issue that we're having, but it's only temporary. We'll get past this. All right. Well, yeah, so we'll have to stop this broadcast when we go to break. We're going to stop the broadcast, and then when we come back from break, I'm going to create a new broadcast, and I will send the invite. Aki Darnell, I don't think I have you on my list, Aki, on Google Plus. So I'll have to look you up so as to make sure that I add you to my circles, and that way, as a matter of fact, I'm trying to do that right now. I'm trying to see if I can add you to my circles, so that way when I send the invite, okay, you've been added. When I send the invite, you will receive.
Okay, I had a question. You said you didn't have me on the Google Plus?
Yes, I just added you. I just added your Nick Aki to my circles.
Okay, okay. And you're saying when you go off, you have to create a new thing to come back on?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So what you'll do is once we go off, you'll receive an invite for the new broadcast, because it's going to break it up. Once I stop this, it ends that broadcast, and I'll have to create a new one, and I'll send you an invite. So you just click on that invite or the link, and it should take you right back into the room.
Okay, and I had one other question. I had a G. I guess it's called Google Plus already.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's showing a picture of me down here. I guess I could change that, huh?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Do you see you on the screen there?
I didn't know it was going to show that picture. Okay, but thank you, Maciel.
You're welcome, Daki.
All right.
Praise ya. All right. Okay. So, all right. Well, family, we're going to get into our study here today. Last Shabbat, we were in the book of Second Chronicles. Second Chronicles, the way you say Chronicles is Dablahim Hamim. Is that how it goes? Is that how you say Chronicles again? Dablahim Hamim.
I think the key, is Dabari.
Say it again, Akud.
Dabari Hayamim or something like that?
Yeah, something. Yeah, I haven't said it in a while. I forget. It has kind of left my mind there a little bit. Yes, Dabari Hayamim, something like that, right? I have to get myself refreshed on that.
And if it's the second, you said Second Chronicles?
Yeah, Second Chronicles.
So Dabari Hayamim Beat or Bayit?
Okay, good. And now I'm going to have to go back and get freshened up there, Akut.
Okay.
Praise Yahuah. Sounds beautiful. All right. So we're going to Second Chronicles, chapter last week we went to chapter 30. This week we want to go to chapter 29. Okay, we want to go to chapter 29, and so we're going back a little bit. Again, the reason why we went to Second Chronicles last week was because we were looking to answer the question of from Bamadabar, Numbers chapter 9. What does it mean? Numbers chapter 9. What is it saying? What is it all about, right? Concerning where Yahuwah told Yasharal to come in the second moon for the feast. If, for example, if one was on a journey or if one was unclean, then they could come in the second moon. So that's what brought us to that text. And so I said that I wanted to read not just one chapter, but I wanted to read a few because it dealt with the feast in the second moon, you see. And so we saw that played out, okay? And how that affects us. How does it apply to us in our captivity? So once we get through this reference in the book of Chronicles, we're going to leave the subject of the feast for a while. Unless there are other questions, then we'll come back to it. And I'm willing, family, I'm willing to go over a matter as many times as I need to, for the purpose, for the sake of clarity, for the sake of understanding. And so, from my perspective, I do not want anyone to feel as if, well, to think that I'm thinking, well, didn't you get it yet? Or, okay, I've talked about that enough, or whatever the case is. I don't want you to feel that way at all. But as I go over something, if there are questions, please, by all means, I want you to raise those questions, and I'll take the time to go over it. Because concerning this subject, there is much confusion. Okay, concerning this subject, there is much confusion. And not just confusion, but a lot of wrong teaching. A lot of wrong teaching and a lot of misunderstanding. And a lot of people who have convinced themselves that what they're teaching is according to the scriptures, when really it is not. And so that's an issue that we are facing right now. Oh, they can actually join from YouTube, Aki? I know that they can listen live, but I don't know if they can. Oh, so they can join. Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't realize that they could actually join from there. I know they can listen live, but didn't realize they could join from there. That's great news, Aki. Tuda. Yes, so that's something that we'll let the family know also. So if they're having trouble finding us via Google Plus, they can go to the YouTube channel and then join from there. That is great to know. Great to know, Aki. Tuda. Oh, that's how you got in, Akut. Okay, wonderful. Oh, praise Father. Yes, so I just want to say again that okay, wonderful. Praise Yahuah. I think I'm really liking this program. I think I am. And the only thing that weighs heavy on me right now is that a lot of our family who usually join us for the fellowship, that they're not with us today because they're not yet familiar with how the program works. And so that's the only thing that weighs heavy on me right now. But in time, we'll get that together. Akut al-Yashaba, she's having some computer issues, but it's not as a result of this program, because what I see is that this program is quite light on your computer, much lighter than Fuse is, because it's totally internet based, really. So it doesn't burden your system. You know, you're streaming, you're not and it doesn't require you, it just doesn't require the processing power that Fuse would require. And so we praise Yahuah for that. Yes, so as I was saying though, family, please, if there are any questions, by all means, I need you to ask. Don't feel afraid to ask them. And don't feel as if any question is foolish, you know. Please don't, because you might be sitting there thinking, well, you know, I have this question, but it's dumb. I'm not going to ask it. And you never know. Somebody else might have the same question and might appreciate you asking the question. So keep that in mind also. All right. So now, even as we consider the feast, that's the reason why we're going back to 2 Chronicles, because we're talking about the feast. But even as we consider the feast, there's something to keep in mind. So think about Shabbat now, right? It's the Shabbat, right? Today is Shabbat. And for example, I was on Facebook earlier, and then Aki, who is somewhere in Africa, he said hello to me. And so I responded to him, Shabbat Shalom. So he said, well, Shabbat's over for me now. Shabbat's, you know, Shabbat was over a few hours ago because I'm in a different time zone. And so my response to him was, "Oh," I said, "Oh, okay, Aki, for sharing." And I took the opportunity to say to him, "You know what you just shared with me is an example of the effects of our scattering and captivity on Yahuwah's feast." So imagine people being in different places, right? You have some people, if they're in Australia, they're keeping Shabbat, what, 12 hours ahead of us, right? Their Shabbat comes in 12 hours earlier than us being here. Somebody in England, their Shabbat comes in maybe 5 hours earlier. If you're in the land, Shabbat comes in 7 hours earlier, and so on and so forth. Now, so how do you keep Shabbat? Even from the perspective of time, how do you keep Shabbat? What is Yahuwah's expectation for us keeping Shabbat, right? There's only one Shabbat. There's only one day given for Shabbat, right? The weekly Shabbat. There's one day given for the weekly Shabbat. And according to Yahuwah's word, everybody is supposed to be keeping Shabbat at the same time. But how is that possible? Talking about what we can and can't do in captivity now. How is that possible? How is it possible for us to keep Shabbat at the same time when we are scattered all over the place? Right? So we talk about keeping Shabbat and the fact that nobody is keeping. Even as we assemble here, family, we are not keeping, because if we were keeping Shabbat, Shabbat was not given. When Yahuwah gave Shabbat, Shabbat was given with the intent of us being in the land, right? So if we were all in the land, everybody would be keeping Shabbat at the same time. Shabbat was given from the perspective of the land, you see. We didn't have to worry about different time zones. Oh, you say Shabbat Shalom to somebody over here, and they say, oh, Shabbat was a few hours ago. You're 12 hours late. You know, how does that work? You know, now it brings in confusion, but there is no confusion, you see, because Yahuwah's instruction was given with the intent of us observing it in the land. You see, so when we come together, we are simply reflecting. We're simply reflecting on Yahuwah's Muadim, on Yahuwah's command, but we're really not in a place. We lack the ability to keep, because to keep means that we must do it according to all that Yahuwah commands. That's what to keep means. Okay, so that's where the confusion, that's one of the key, a big part of our confusion is with the term, or with this term, or with this word, keep. What does it mean to keep? What does it mean? Okay, what does it mean to keep the feast? What does it mean to keep the feast? Right? The definition of keeping any of the feast is this. It's simply to do according to all that Yahuwah commands. Okay, that's the definition of to keep. When Yahuwah commands us to keep the feast, if you want to define it, if you want to break it down, then it means to do according to all. Yes, to carry on by doing according to all that he commands. That's the only way you can keep anything. If You know what another definition of to keep is? Another definition of to keep means to guard. Guard. Okay? Another definition of to keep or to guard is to preserve. Yup. Shamar. Right? I wrote preserver. To preserve. Okay? To preserve. Okay? That's another definition. Yep. To maintain. Or, in other words, to keep intact. Intact. Okay? All right? You know what? To keep it preserved, that nothing changes, you see. So these are definitions of to keep. So when we begin to do things in ways and in places that causes things to change, then we're not keeping. It's impossible for us to say we're keeping if it bring about some kind of change. Yes, to observe. Yep. That's also another definition of to keep. Now, to observe, there are different variations of observance. Because you can observe simply from the perspective of reflecting, right? You can observe simply from the perspective, yes, to watch over. You can observe simply from the perspective of reflecting, you see. If you click on Q&A, you can see the others. Oh, questions on YouTube. Oh, okay, Akut. Oh, so so it's probably in my interest to check that because as a matter of fact, if I click on Q&A here, if there are questions, I should be able to see them also. Okay, so they cannot see you in YouTube. Okay. All right, let's see. Click the select button, shows the audience which questions you are answering. Okay. All right. Oh, I see Akut Mahalia. Okay. Okay. Oh, there go Akut Mary. Okay. Akut Johnny Bus and okay. Let's see. He actually couldn't hear you, Aki, but I see you now. In order for me to hear you, you'll have to come to the room. As a matter of fact, if I click on his question, okay, Kuchar, I'm here. Give me just a second. This is fun and interesting. Okay, so Aki Johnny, I wasn't able to hear you, but I do see your I do see that you're here, Aki, and Shabbat Shalom to you, Akut Mary, and who else we have? Of course, Akut Mahalia is here. Let me see who else we're missing. To the Akut. Let's see. Akut Kazakaya. Okay. Well, praise Yahuah. Again, there's a link there, family. If you click for you to join the to come in where you're live, where I can actually hear you, right there from YouTube, there's a link there somewhere that you can click to join the broadcast instead of just listening live. Akut Amuna, I see Akut Amuna also. Wonderful. Well, I was quite concerned, family, as to whether or not you you know, you would be able to locate the broadcast. Akut Kazakaya said, Shabbat Shalom, family. I'm not sure if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but let's see, Akut Shar, and let's see. As a matter of fact, what I'm supposed to do is click on each of these so that they see and know who I'm responding to, whose questions I'm responding to as I respond. So, Akut Kazakaya, if I click on hers, then she would see that I'm actually responding to her as I respond. Anyway, wonderful to know that you're there, Akut, and family, and to know that you're hearing. Again, we're going through a learning. It's the learning process here, and we'll we'll get it together. But to Yahuwah be all esteem. I'm looking forward to when everybody is able to come in into the room itself and we can see you. I really do like the setup. It's really interesting, and it's a lot of cool features. I'm not able to use all of them the way I'd like to use them because currently I have my computer hooked up to the television, and the connection that I have, it limits what I can do. And so there are some things that, like for example, sharing the scriptures on the screen, I'll be able to do that, but with the current hookup that I have, I can't do it. So once I get this set up where my wife can actually get in, and I don't have to put it on the television for her to see you and everything else that's going on, then I'll be able to share the scriptures directly. Okay? All right. It is indeed a baraka. And okay, let me go down and see. Aki Maganyahu asked the question. No. Oh. Yeah. Went all the way up. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes. Praise Father. Indeed. All right. Yes. So, when we consider the feast, and even from the perspective of timeline and our scattering, people living in different time zones, you see, again, that's just further evidence that Yahuwah gave his word to a people in a certain place, and it was the intent, just like his scripture says, just like the word says clearly, when you come into the land, right? His word says, when you come into the land. That's a phrase that even though it is stated and it is emphasized throughout the scriptures over and over and over again, I have not encountered any of our teachers who really have paid any attention to that phrase, even though it is there over and over and over again. Yahuwah says it time and time again. Now let me ask this quick question, family. Does Yahuwah say anything just for saying it? Is Yahuwah one that likes to hear himself speak? No. Everything that Yahuwah says is important. Yahuwah does not say stuff just to be heard or just to hear himself. Everything that he says is important. So when Yahuwah says in his word, time and time again, when you come into the land, he says it because it is of great importance. He says it because he wants us to hear it. He says it because he wants us to get it. And he says this time and time and time again, when you come into the land. Something else he also says in his word time and time and time again that people seem to ignore. And that is, he says it all over. He says it in the book of Dabarim. He says it in the book of Shamut. He says it in the book of Bamadabar. He says it in the book of Katsun, Revelation. He says, do not add to my word. Do not take away. Do not add to my Torah. Do not take away from my Torah. Do not add. Do not take away. He says, the one who adds, I will add to him the plague of this book. And the one who takes away, I will remove his name from the book of life. Do not add, do not take away. In other words, Yahuwah is saying, do not play mathematics with my word. You see. But we continue to do that. So, a few things we need to keep in mind concerning the instructions of Yahuwah. When you come into the land, that phrase that is found all throughout Scripture, we should pay close attention to when you come into the land. Because I've seen people, I don't know if anybody have seen this, but I've seen people argue on Facebook about when the Shabbat is, depending on time zones. I don't know if you ever seen that, but I've seen it. Okay, people arguing about when is the Shabbat because you're in different time zones. So I've seen people argue. So if somebody is in Australia, for example, and you're in America, and that person is keeping Shabbat, 12 hours earlier, I've seen people arguing with them saying, "Oh, you're early. That's not the Shabbat. Now is the Shabbat." And they're arguing about when the Shabbat is because they're in different time zones. You see, I've seen that. But really, there's no argument about when Shabbat is. You see, from that perspective. There is no argument from that perspective because Shabbat is Shabbat according to the place, Jerusalem, not according to any other place. That's what the scripture says. Whenever Shabbat occurs in Jerusalem, that's Shabbat, really. That's Shabbat. You see, when Shabbat begins in Jerusalem, that's when Shabbat begins. When Shabbat ends in Jerusalem, that's really when Shabbat ends. That's according to scripture. But you have people who are scattered and living in different time zones arguing over when Shabbat really is. And there should be no argument about that. Because the scriptures makes it clear where our clock is centered or where our clock is positioned. You see. Now, so from that perspective, concerning the times of the Moedim of Yahuah, the appointed times in the feast, we must look to Jerusalem, you see. Now, of course, concerning the calendar of Yahuah, we have other issues also, because we have been stripped of his calendar, and there is much confusion concerning the calendar. So we have issues there also, but that's something else for another time. Now, family, this week, so we went to 2 Chronicles chapter 30 last week. This week, I want to back up a little bit because there's an important fact that I want to highlight that I don't want us to miss. I want to back up to chapter 29 this week of 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles, I want to back up to chapter 29 this week. We're going to read from chapter 29. Now, you will not be able to see the scriptures on the screen because, again, of the setup that I have. But Yahuwah willing, next Shabbat, I'll be able to share with you the scriptures on the screen as we usually do. But for this week, you won't be able to see it on the screen, okay? So if you could grab your scriptures or open up another window on your computer where you can pull up the scriptures and just follow along with me as I read, then that would be great. If I want you to pay attention, close attention to something, some verse or some phrase in a verse, I'll make sure that I emphasize that. I want you to bring your attention to that. But I want to go here and I want to begin there in chapter 29. And even as we begin there, 2 Chronicles chapter 29, and even as we begin there, I want you to reflect for a moment on that passage of scripture. I believe it's in the book of might be Zachariah. They say Zechariah chapter 3. Is that what it is? It might be Zechariah chapter 3. Where in verse 9, I believe, where people always talk about, people who say we can't know what his name really is because we don't have a pure language, we don't speak a pure language, and they use that scripture to say. So is that Zechariah chapter 3, verse 9? Somebody remind me there. I can't recall right now. Sometimes the books run together for me, but that if it is, I think it's Zechariah chapter 3 and verse 9, where it says that Yahuwah will return to them a pure language. And that's taken out of context and misrepresented, because it's really not saying that we're at a time where the language is not known and cannot be known. That's not what it's saying. What that text is talking about, and the only way you're going to understand it is if you read it in context. What the text is talking about is Yahuwah cleansing the land, purging the land of people who speak a foreign language. Tada, Aki, Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 9, Tada. So that's talking about, if you read it in context, what you find is it's not saying that We right now do not know the language, cannot know the language. It's impossible for us to know the language. Therefore, it's impossible for us to know the name. That's what people say who argue about the name. But that's not what the text is saying. If we take the time to read it in context, that's not what it's talking about. If we take the time to read that text in context, then what we learn is that what Yahuwah is saying, there is coming a day when he is going to purge the land of foreigners, people who speak a different language, people who do not belong in the land. That's what Yahusha was also speaking about when he said that Jerusalem will be trampled, Jerusalem shall be trampled under the foot of the heathen until the time of the heathen is brought to completion. You see, is brought to an end. You see. And so there's coming a time when the land has to be purged. After every captivity, the land has to be purged. The land must go through a purging. The land and the set apart place, the land and the Haykal has to be purged. After every captivity that happens. Okay? Now, to that, Aki. So Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 9. For then I shall turn on to the peoples a clean lip, so that they all call on the name of Yahuwah to serve him with one shoulder. And this verse is used, you see, then I will turn on to the people a clean lip. They say the reason what that's talking about is the fact that we don't speak the language. We all speak different, we all say different stuff. They say, some say Yahawada, some say this, some say that, some say whatever. And that's not what it's talking about. Then, because again, you can't get it if you only read one verse. You got to read the entire text. You got to read it in context. And so what Yahuwah is speaking about here is removing the heathen out of the land. People, Yiddish speaking people, those people speaking Yiddish, those people who have corrupted our language, those people who have corrupted our land. Yahuwah is talking about purifying the land, taking out the foreigners, the strangers, the heathen, taking them out of the land. And then the only people that will be left in the land are the people of the land speaking our language and calling upon the name of Yahuwah, not calling on Yahweh, not calling on anything else, not calling on Jesus, not calling on anything else, but all calling upon Yahuwah. That's the purging that's being talked about here in the text. But again, we can only see that if we take the time to read it contextually, beginning in chapter 1 and reading all the way through to chapter 3. There are only 3 chapters in the book. And if we begin in chapter 1 and read contextually all the way through to the end, then we will see that that's exactly what's being spoken of. It's not saying that it's impossible for us to know the name right now, but a day is coming when we all will know the name. That's not what it's saying. You see, Yahuwah's name is known, and it's possible to know his name. You see, because if we don't know his name, then we're in trouble. Because if we don't know his name, who are we going to call upon for salvation if we don't know his name? Because one of the prerequisites for salvation is our ability to call upon his name. You see, that's one of the prerequisites of salvation. So when we came to a knowledge of Yahuwah, we didn't call upon anybody else. We called upon Yahuwah because it is he who saves. It is Yahuwah who delivers. So we need to know his name because his name is salvation. The scriptures tells us that the name of Yahuwah is a strong tower. The set apart run into it. The chosen run into it, and they are delivered. And so it's important for us to know his name, even concerning our deliverance. If his name is not important to be known, then we might as well and could have as well continue to call upon Jesus for salvation. But you cannot call upon Jesus for salvation. You must call upon Yahuwah to be saved, to be delivered. And so his name is important. Because his name is important, Yahuwah make his name known to his people. So for those who use this text to say that it's impossible for us to know his name, anyone who says that is one who have not taken the time to study the scriptures contextually. All right. Now I brought that up because I want to talk about cleansing. I want to bring your attention to cleansing and the importance of cleansing. And we're going to see this now as we go to the book of 2nd Chronicles chapter 29. So let's go to 2nd Chronicles chapter 29. Second Chronicles chapter 29. Last Shabbat, we read chapter 30, but I want to back up a little bit. I want to go to chapter 29 because there's some information. And then we're going to skip over some of the history. And when we come back from the break, what we'll do is we'll go to chapter 34 and 35. Okay? And once we cover that, this is the last time. Unless there are questions, then I won't continue to deal with the feast, the conversation of not per se the feast per se, but as far as the subject of whether or not we can keep the feast in our captivity. And now I have a question that I'm going to be asking you, family. It's a point that was raised last Shabbat, and I'm going to be asking you that question again this week. And the question is, we talked about 3 things that are needed, necessary, in order for us to keep the feast. I want you, when you study the scriptures on the feast, to keep those 3 things in mind. We call them the 3 P's, right? That's what we call them as we went through our study last week, the 3 P's. Now, as we prepare to go to this text, I'll ask again, what are the 3 P's for the keeping of the Muadim of Yahuah? Presence, priesthood, and place. Tuda Aki, presence, priesthood, and place. Presence, priesthood, and place. Presence, priesthood, and place. You got to have all 3. Presence, priesthood, and place. You got to have all 3. Whenever we are scattered into captivity, you never find all 3 in captivity. You never find all 3. Presence, priesthood, and place. It's impossible. And because it's impossible to find this in captivity, then there is not a single scripture anywhere that you will find the people of Yasharal keeping the feast in captivity. Let me say that again. You will not find a single scripture anywhere where you will find the people of Yasharal keeping the feast in captivity. I say that with great boldness, and there are people out there who says otherwise. But for any who says otherwise, I would really humbly challenge them to show me the scriptures where you find Yasharal keeping the feast in captivity. And again, I will say that there is not one scripture, and I say that with confidence and with the boldness of Yahuah, that there is not one scripture anywhere where you will find Yasharal keeping the feast in captivity. Now, if anybody should come across this video and want to show that I am incorrect in stating this, and I would encourage you to post those scriptures, and we will gladly discuss them, review them, look over them, study them. But there is not a scripture, a single scripture anywhere that shows the people of Yasharal keeping the feast in any captivity, because you do not have these 3 things in captivity: presence, priesthood, and place. Okay? Yes, you have the presence of Yahuah, because Yahuah promised that he's going to now live. He now lives in us. Yahuah lives in us, so we have his presence with us. We don't have the priesthood, we don't have the place. You see? And there have also been captivities. And even in the earlier portion of this, well, there have also been captivities, let me put it this way, where the people did not even have the presence of Yahuah. Okay? There have also been captivities where they did not even have the presence of Yahuah. Okay? All right. So we're going now to 2nd Chronicles. And I emphasize that because I really wanted to stick. Okay?
Dr. Patrick. He said he's trying to get into the room. I don't know if somebody can help him.
Okay. Shalom, Aki. Hey, okay, so I learned that if you go to the YouTube channel, Aki, and you click on the video that's there, the live stream, it'll give you an option where you can come into the room. You can listen from there, or you can come into the room. There's an option there. You click on it, and you can join the it will take you into the room, Aki. Okay. All right. I look forward to seeing you shortly. Shalom. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So presence, priesthood, and place. Keep that in mind. All right. Let's go now to 2 Chronicles chapter 29. 2 Chronicles chapter 29. Now, this king who they call Hezekiah, or in this Yiddish book, your Yiddish Bible, they call him Hizkiyahu. His name is actually Kazakyahu. Okay, his name is Kazakyahu. Okay, Kazakyahu began to reign when he was 25 years old, and he reigned 29 years in Yerushalayim, or Yerushalayim. And his mother's name was Abiyah, the daughter of Zachariahu. And he did what was right in the eyes of Yahuah, according to all that his father Dahud did. Now, it's interesting for us to, and we should pay attention to this phrase right here, because there's misunderstanding. It's because a lot of people don't recognize the way these the language of scripture is, why some people come up with that idea that Dahud will be Mashiach, or Dahud is Mashiach, because they don't pay attention to the grammar, the Abari grammar. So right here you notice it says that it calls Kazakyahu the son of Dahud, calls Dahud his father. But is that literally saying that Dahud was Kazakyahu's father? No, Dahud was not his father, literally. You see, Dahud is all our father. You see, Dahud is a monarch of Yasharal, just like Abraham is our father, just like Yaakov is our father, just like Yatshak is our father. You see, but this is not saying that he was literally the son of Dahud. From a generational perspective, or from a national perspective, Dahud, he was the son of Dahud, and that's what's being stated. But language like this confuses people figuratively, absolutely a key. Language like this confuses people, and it is this language and a misunderstanding of the language, of the use of language, that causes people to come up with the Dahud is Mashiach doctrines and different teachings that you have out there. And so things like this, it's important for us to see them and to understand them. Okay, so he says, and he did what was right in the eyes, this is verse 2, and he did what was right in the eyes of Yahuah, according to all that his father Dahud did. In the first year of his reign, in the first moon, he opened the doors of the house of Yahuah and repaired them. So in the first year of his reign, in the first moon, he opened the doors of the house of Yahuah and repaired them. Let me ask this question from verse 3 now. Based upon what we're seeing here in verse 3, and I'd like to take a look at the question and then Q&A, so I can see if there's anything being posted from YouTube. But based on verse 3, he opened the doors in the first moon and began repairs on the house of Yahuah. Now, you have people who say that Yahuah command Yasharal to keep the feast perpetually, and under no matter what circumstances. If you're in captivity, you must keep the feast without stopping. If you're in the land, you must be keeping the feast without stopping. Now, here in Second Chronicles, where are they at? They're in the land here, right, family? That's where they are. They're in the land. But if he opened the doors in the first month, in the first year of his reign, he opened the doors to the Haykal, and he began repairs. They're in the land. Could they be keeping the feast at that time? They just began repairs. This is the first month is the month of the Passover, right? The first moon is the moon of the Passover. When your mic is muted, I'm missing something there, a key, or maybe that's an earlier post. Yeah, I think that's an earlier post. Yeah.
131.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so let me go down. All right, so I got to go a long ways here. All right. Yeah, so if they're opening the doors to the Haykal in the first moon to begin repairs, are they at this time keeping the feast? No, they're not keeping the feast at this time. Was Yahuah going to hold this against them, that they're not keeping the feast at this time, but instead they're actually beginning to repair the Haykal? The answer to that is no, he's not going to hold it against them. Okay. No, he's not going to hold it against them at this time, because the Haykal was not in the condition it needs to be in for them to keep the feast, right? And so it needs to be cleansed. So here it is, they're opening up the doors. Yasharal had gone away from Yahuah. They had not been keeping the feast. And so now they're returning to Yahuah. Okay? And so you have Kazakyahu, and he's leading the people now. He's leading the people back to Yahuah. Okay? So let's look at this a little further. So verse 3, in the first year of his reign, in the first moon, he opened the doors of the house of Yahuah and repaired them, and brought in the priest and Louis, and gathered them in the open place to the east. And he said to them, listen to me, O Louis. Now set yourselves apart. Set apart the house of Yahuah, Elohim of your fathers, and remove the uncleanness from the set apart place. For our fathers have trespassed, and have done evil in the eyes of Yahuah, our Elohim, and have forsaken him, and have turned their faces away from the dwelling place of Yahuah, and have given their backs. Here we see place. They have turned their faces away from the dwelling place of Yahuah, and have given their backs. And you go, for example, in one of our captivities, you go to the book of Ezekiel, you see where they turn their backs to the place of Yahuah, and they were looking toward the image of jealousy. For our fathers have trespassed and have done evil in the eyes of Yahuah Elohim, verse 6, and have forsaken him, and have turned their faces away from the dwelling place of Yahuah, and have given their backs. Verse 7, and they have shut the doors of the porch, and put out the lamps, and they have not burned incense or offered burnt offerings in the set apart place to the Elohim of Yasharal. Therefore the wrath of Yahuah fell upon Yahudah and Jerusalem, and he has given them up for a trembling, for an astonishment, and for a hissing, as you see with your eyes. So because they refused to keep the feast of Yahuah, they were in the set apart place, but they turned their backs on Yahuah. They closed the doors of the Haykal. They forsook the Haykal, turned their backs on Yahuah, and because of that, Yahuah gave them up for a trembling and for an astonishment and for a hissing, as you see with your eyes. So when we're in the land, if we're living in the land and we turn our backs on the Torah of Yahuwah, we turn our backs on the instructions of Yahuwah, we turn our backs on the Muadim of Yahuwah, then Yahuwah gives us over to be ravaged by the enemy. And that's what happened to Yasharal. They turned their backs, even though they're in the place, they turned their backs on Yahuwah. Okay, verse 8, verse let me see, verse 9. Let me scroll down so I can see verse 9. And see, because of this, our fathers have fallen by the sword, and our sons and our daughters and our wives are in captivity for this. Because they turned their backs on Yahuwah while they were in the land, while they were in the place, they turned their backs on Yahuwah. While they were in the place with the Haykal standing, they closed the doors of the Haykal. While they were in the place, they turned away from Yahuwah while they were in the place. And because of this, Yahuwah gave them over to captivity. And see, in verse 9, and see, because of this our fathers have fallen by the sword, and our sons and daughters and our wives are in captivity for this. Are in captivity for this. Now it is in my heart to make a contract with Yahuwah, Elohim of Yasharal, so that the heat of his wrath turns away from us. So now there's in the land, that's where they are. They're in the land. And so the king says, it's in my heart to make a contract with Yahuwah, Elohim of Yasharal, so that the heat of his wrath turns away from us. My sons, do not be slack, for Yahuwah has chosen you to stand before him, to serve him, and to be attendants for him and burn incense. Okay? So, family, here is another thing. When concerning the feast, do you know, concerning the feast, we talk about keeping the feast, and we're talking about doing it according to all that Yahuwah commands, according to all his Torah. And concerning every feast, including the Shabbat, one of the instructions, if you're keeping the feast, is that incense is to be burnt. Incense is to be burnt. And there, at the appointed times of praying, then the prayers are to be offered up with the incense while the incense is being burnt. So let me ask this question of anyone out there who are dogmatic about the fact that they are keeping the feast and that they are keeping Shabbat. Even on this Shabbat, or if you should be hearing this recording later. So on the last Shabbat, were you offering up your prayers with the burning of incense as commanded? Now there are some people who do this, and so if you're one who offered up your prayer with the burning of incense, in what place did you do this? Because even the burning of incense to be offered up with prayers needs to be in an appointed place, in a specific place, and not just any place. You see. So there are some people who, because they're offering up incense with their prayers, they say, I'm keeping the feast. I'm doing it according to the instructions of Yahuwah. Yes, you will even find people who they're out there somewhere slaughtering a lamb or a goat. And they say, because I'm doing this, I am keeping it. How can you tell me I'm not keeping it? Well, you see, it's not just the sacrifices. You see, it's not just the sacrifices. It's not just any of the other. It's not just the offerings, but there needs to be priesthood, place, and presence, right?
No. Yeah.
There needs to be priesthood, place, and presence.
Mm-mm.
Now, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to Akut Yolanda. It is wonderful to see you, Akut.
Thank you.
Great to hear you. Great to hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Shalom, everybody.
Shalom. I'll mute your mic for you, Akut.
Okay. Thank you.
Say, greet Aki Yaram Yahu for me.
I will. I will. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so it's priesthood place and presence. Okay, now all right, let me go back to verse. Yes, so verse 11. My sons, do not be slack, for Yahuwah has chosen you to stand before him, to serve him, and to be attendants for him, and burn incense. And Louis rose up, Mahath, son of Amasai, and Yoal, son of Azaryahu, of the sons of Kahat, and the sons of Merari, Cush, son of Abdi, and Azaryahu, son of Yahalal, and of Garash, Yuha, son of Zimah, and Adan, son of Yuha. And of the sons of Alitzaphan, Shimri, and Yahihal. And of the sons of Asaph, Zachariahu, and Mathanyahu. And the sons of Haman, Yahuhal, and Shammai. And of the sons of Yaduthan, Shamayahu, and Uziel. And they gathered their brothers and set themselves apart, and went according to the command of the king, at the words of Yahuwah, to cleanse the house of Yahuwah. To cleanse the house of Yahuwah. So family, remember where they started now. They started in the first moon. They opened the doors, and the king said, you know what, our people have been in disobedience, and as a result, we fell into captivity, but I want us to return to Yahuwah. So I want us to pay attention to something here. In returning to Yahuwah, did they just get up and they say, oh, it's the first moon, let us hurry up and just let us throw a feast together? Is that what they did? Did they jump up and said, you know what, it's the first moon, and so let's go have the Passover, let's go have the feast? No, that's not what they did. You see, people are teaching, and the reason why I decided to come to chapter 29 is again to make this point clear. People are teaching that the way that we are going to be saved, according to them, the way that we are going to be saved is that if we jump up immediately and return to keeping the feast, and then by keeping the feast, you are cleansed. That's what they're teaching. These teachers are teaching that when you find yourself in a corrupt state, the way to make yourself clean is the moment you realize you're corrupt, you jump up, and the first thing you do is you begin to keep Yahuwah's feast. Wherever you are, you begin to keep Yahuwah's feast. Whatever condition you're in, you begin to keep Yahuwah's feast. And when you begin to do this, you will be made clean by your keeping of the feast. Now, that's what these teachers are teaching. That's what our Aki that was with us last week and the week before, that's what he is teaching. That's what he was trying to tell us we need to be doing. He said that if you're not keeping the feast right now, in whatever condition you're in, because he said if you're not doing the feast, then you can't be delivered. Question is this what the scriptures teach? That's what we're trying to figure out here. Is this what the scriptures teach? So notice again, I'm going to read. Give me just a second, family. Bear with me just for a second. Okay, now family, so this is what these teachers are teaching, that when you find yourself unclean, when you find yourself defiled, and when you find yourself in any strange place, when you find yourself in captivity, the moment you come to a knowledge of Yahuwah, what you must do in order for you to be delivered immediately, whatever state you're in, you must begin to keep the feast, and that's what's going to bring your deliverance. But according to the scriptures, what does that do? Does that deliver you? When a profane person jumps up and begins to keep the feast in their profane state, what does that do? When a defiled person jump up and begin to keep the feast in a defiled state, what does that do? Does it deliver you, or does it now further bring guilt upon you? Because you see, if you are defiled, and if you're in a defiled place doing set apart things, you're dragging set apart things into defiled space, and now what you're doing is you're defiling set apart things. So the first step is not to jump up and now begin to so-called keep the feast that you may be delivered. The first step is to cleanse yourself. And this is true whether you're in captivity or you're in the land. We must first turn our attention to cleansing, you see. And in the land, in captivity, we're turning our attention to cleansing. We're turning our attention to examining ourselves. And the cleansing will continue until we are delivered. But you cannot do some little ceremony and then say you're clean and now go on to keeping the feast in captivity. That doesn't work either. Now here are the people. They're in the land, and notice what happens. Look at their response. They're in the land, and the king wants now to return to Yahuwah, and it's the first moon of the year, meaning it's the moon of the Passover. But he did not immediately jump up and say, oh, you know, it's the first moon. We got to hurry up. We only have a few days to get ourselves together for the Passover. So let's get ourselves together so we can keep the Passover here in the first moon. No, the first thing they did was they set out to cleanse themselves. And as a result, they weren't able to keep it in the first moon, as we saw last week. They kept it in the second moon, right? But, okay, so let's continue to look at this now. So, verse 14, verse 15. And they gathered their brothers and set themselves apart, and went according to the command of the king, at the words of Yahuwah, to cleanse the house of Yahuwah. And the priest came into the inner part of the house of Yahuwah to cleanse it, and brought out all the uncleanness they found in the Haykal of Yahuwah to the courtyard of the house of Yahuwah. Then Louis received it to take it outside to the Wadi Kidron. And they began to set apart on the first day of the first moon. And on the 8th day of the moon, they came to the porch of Yahuwah. And they set apart the house of Yahuwah in 8 days. And on the 16th day of the first moon, they had finished. So they weren't finished until the 16th day by now. So watch what's happening here. They worked all the way through the period of the feast. And they weren't done until the 16th day. Then they came in to the king, Kazakyahu, and said, we have cleansed all the house of Yahuwah, and the altar of burnt offerings with all its utensils, and the table of the showbread with all its utensils. Oh, pay attention here now, family. So they're keeping the feast. Notice some of the fixings that is mentioned. There are utensils, right? They have the altar of burnt offerings with its utensils. They have the table of showbread with its utensils. Now, with all these people, and they did it according to all that Yahuwah command. This is according to all that Yahuwah command. You see? Yes, Aki. The question is, how do we cleanse ourselves? Because we as a people now, the only way we can examine ourselves, but we cannot cleanse ourselves. We can examine ourselves and then look to Yahuwah, cry out to Yahuwah for cleansing. But we can no longer cleanse ourselves because of the change in the contract. You see, prior to the contract being changed, the people had to cleanse themselves. But the problem was with that cleansing was that the cleansing was only temporary. And even in the midst of the cleansing, as Shaul says, the very act of cleansing was just a reminder of how much of a failure we are. Because just as we're cleansing ourselves, we're probably right on the verge of messing up all over again. You see. And so Yahuwah came so that the cleansing would be permanent if we would submit ourselves to him. You see. Now, so they had the utensils. Verse 19, and all the utensils which King Ahaz in his reign had pushed aside when he trespassed, we have prepared and set apart. And see, they are before the altar of Yahuwah. And King Hezekiah rose up early and gathered the heads of the city and went up to the house of Yahuwah. Where did they go? They went up to the house of Yahuwah. Okay? They went up to the house of Yahuwah. And they brought 7 bulls and 7 rams and 7 lambs and 7 male goats for a transgression offering and for the rain, for the set apart place, and for Yehuda. And he said to the priest, the sons of Aharon, to offer them on the altar of Yahuwah. So they slaughtered the bulls, and the priest received the blood and sprinkled it on the altar. And they slaughtered the rams and sprinkled the blood on the altar. And they slaughtered the lambs and sprinkled the blood on the altar. And they brought out the male goats of the transgression offering before the king and the assembly, and they laid their hands on them. And the priest slaughtered them, and with their blood made a transgression offering, a sin offering on the altar, to make an atonement for all Yasharal. For the king said that the burnt offering and the sin offering is for all Yasharal. And he appointed Louis in the house of Yahuwah with cymbals and with harps and with lyres, according to the command of Dahud, and of Gad, seer of the king, and of Nathan the prophet. For the command was by the hand of Yahuwah, by the hand of his prophets. We go down, verse 26. And Louis stood with the instruments of Dahud, and the priest with the trumpets. And Hezekiah gave the order to offer the burnt offering on the altar. And when the burnt offering began, the singing unto Yahuwah began, with the trumpets and with the instruments of Dahud, king of Yasharal. And all the assembly were bowing, and the singers singing, and the trumpeters blowing, and all this until the burnt offering was completed. And at the completion of the offering, the king and all who were present with him bowed and worshipped. And King Hezekiah and the rulers ordered Louis to sing praise to Yahuwah with the words of Dahud and of Asaph the seer. And they sang praises with gladness, and they bowed their heads and worshipped. And Hezekiah responded and said, now that you have ordained yourselves to Yahuwah, come near and bring slaughterings. Watch this now. So now you have set yourself apart and ordained yourself unto Yahuwah. Bring slaughterings. So that they had to first cleanse themselves. Now, we now don't cleanse ourselves. Yahuwah does. Okay? And certainly if one deny Mashiach, you cannot declare then that you are cleansed. You see? Because our cleansing comes through Yahuwah HaMashiach. You see? And Hezekiah responded and said, now that you have ordained yourselves to Yahuwah, given yourselves back to Yahuwah, come near and bring slaughterings and thank offerings into the house of Yahuwah. And the assembly brought in slaughterings and thank offerings, and all those whose hearts were so moved brought burnt offerings. And the number of the burnt offerings, now do not confuse this with the feast. This is not a matter of them keeping the feast. This is a matter of them returning to Yahuwah. You see? preparing themselves and giving themselves back to Yahuwah. The number of the burnt offerings which the assembly brought was 70 bulls, 100 rams, 200 lambs, and all these for a burnt offering to Yahuwah. And the set apart gifts were 600 bulls and 3,000 sheep. Only the priests were too few and were unable to skin all the burnt offerings, so their brothers Louis helped them until the work was completed and until the other priests that set themselves apart for Louis were more upright of heart to set themselves apart than the priest. Now let's scroll down here a little bit more. And there were also many burnt offerings with the fat of the peace offerings and with the drink offerings for every burnt offering. Thus the service of the house of Yahuwah was reestablished. And Hezekiah and all the people rejoiced that Elohim had prepared the people, because the matter came about so suddenly. So what's happening here? So first thing, and I've said this before, and here we see it again in the scriptures. In order for us to for us to return to the keeping of the feast, a couple of things need to take place. We know that we need to be in the right place. We know that there need to be the priesthood. We know that there need to be the presence. But then there are a couple of things that needs to take place. There needs to be a cleansing, and there needs to be one other thing, even before we get to the feast. Need to be cleansing, and there need to be one other thing, which we just saw in the text that we read. So what was that other thing, family? In the text that we just read, we saw the cleansing. We also saw something else. Well, the Haykal is the place. We have the altar. We have it starts with redemption. But how about rededication? There needs to be a rededication. Cleansing. First, there needs to be a cleansing. Then there needs to be a rededication. A rededication of the people, a rededication of the place, a rededication of the utensils, you see. So cleansing, rededication, and then comes the feast, you see. So there needs to be a cleansing, there needs to be a rededication, then comes the feast, okay? So in order for us to keep any feast after corruption, there needs to be a cleansing, there needs to be rededication, and then comes the feast. And this is what you will find all throughout the scriptures. All throughout the scriptures. Whenever Yahuwah drives Yasharal into judgment because of their disobedience, before they can return to keeping the feast, there needs to be a cleansing. There's always a cleansing, then a rededication, then followed by the feast. Okay, that's what we always see. So we just read from chapter 29 of the book of 2 Chronicles. We saw the cleansing, we saw the rededication. Now when you go to chapter 30, which we read last week, then you will see the feast. This is the order, you see. Cleansing, rededication, then comes the feast. And there is no feast in any other place except for in the set apart place. Yes, indeed, Akut. So cleansing, rededication of the place, the people, and the utensils. Okay? That's the only feast that is then acceptable to Yahuwah. There is a cleansing, there is a rededication, and there's a cleansing, rededication of the people, rededication of the place, and of the utensils. Now, family, according to the scriptures, what does the rededication of the people, how does the scripture tell us that in our regathering, what does the rededication of the people, the rededication of the place, and the cleansing look like? How does that apply? How does the cleansing apply to us? The cleansing, the rededication of us, the people, and the rededication of the place. What does that look like? No, I'm not screen sharing, Akut. The way my computer is set up, I'm unable to screen share right now, but I will be able to. I'll set it up differently where I'm able to. I just did it this way so my wife can see until I get things figured out, where I don't have to put it on the television. Right now I have my computer connected to the television, and it doesn't allow me to share the way I'd like to share in the room. No problem. Yes, so what does that look like for us today? Well, our cleansing looks like this. Yahuwah came and shed his blood on our behalf. That's the way our cleansing look. Whereas the cleansing of our ancestors were done through the blood of goats and bulls, our cleansing is through Hamashiach. Our cleansing is through Yahuwah Hamashiach, Yahusha. You see? So that's what our cleansing today looks like. So we are cleansed through Mashiach. Okay? Our rededication, what does that look like? Well, you know, when our rededication has not yet come, our rededication comes at the feast of the Lamb. Our rededication comes at the feast of the Lamb. Okay? Our rededication comes at the feast of the Lamb. So, if we go to the book of Katsun, Revelation, let's go there very briefly. Okay, let's go to Revelation. And I'm going to go to chapter 18 or 19. Let's see. Looking at our rededication. That's the rededication of the people. Then if you go to the rededication of the people in the book of Katsun, Revelation, what comes after that? So you have the rededication of the people, and after that, just following the timeline there in Katsun also, Revelation, after the rededication of the people comes the rededication of the Haykal, the rededication of the place. Because it is after the rededication of the people that Yahuwah then gives Yahukanan the vision, where he says, and I, Yahukanan, saw the set-apart city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from Shamayim. Right? So first the people are rededicated, and we'll look at that. And then comes the rededication of the place. Okay, so first came the cleansing. The cleansing came through Hamashiach. Then comes the rededication of the people. That is upon the coming of Yahusha, Yahuah Yahusha. Then comes the rededication of the place. So if we look at Katsun, let's see, Katsun, chapter 19. I think it starts in chapter 18, but I think I'm just going to go to chapter 19. Let's see, make sure. I think it starts in chapter 18, but I'm going to go to chapter 19. Let's see. One second. Let me see where I really want to start. Bear with me here just for a second, family. Bear with me. Give me just a second here, please. Okay. So let's see. I don't want to begin in chapter 18. I'll go to chapter 19. Okay, I'll go to chapter 19. And after this, I heard a loud voice of a great crowd in Shamayim, saying, Hallelujah, deliverance and esteem and respect and power to Yahuah our Elohim, because the true and upright are his judgments, because he has judged the great whore who corrupted the earth with her whoring, and he has avenged on her the blood of his servants shed by her. And the second time they said, Hallelujah, and her smoke rises up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the 4 living creatures fell down and worshipped Elohim who sat on the throne, saying, Aman, Halahu Yahuah. And the voice came from the throne saying, Praise our Elohim, all you his servants, and those who fear him, both small and great. Let me scroll here a bit. And I heard as the voice of a great crowd, as the sound of many waters, and as the sound of mighty thunder, saying, Hallelujah, for Yahuah Al-Shaddai reigns. Let us be glad and rejoice and give him praise, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his wife is Asha prepared herself. This is now the rededication of the people. Okay, so first came the cleansing. Right? That's Hamashiach, where he came and he shed his blood. Now comes the rededication of the people. So here in verse 9, we begin to see a picture of it. Okay, no, not verse 9. Where are we at? Verse 7, we begin to see a picture of it. Let us be glad and rejoice and give him praise, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his wife is Asha prepared herself. And to her it was given to be dressed in fine linen, the rededication, clean and bright. For the fine linen, the cleansing, for her it is given to be dressed in fine linen, clean and bright. For the fine linen is the righteousness, the set apartness of the set apart ones. And he said to me, Write, Baruch are those who have been called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said to me, These are the true words of Elohim. And I fell at his feet to worship him. But he said to me, See, do not do it. I am your fellow servant and of your brothers who possess the witness of Yahusha. Worship Elohim, for the witness of Yahusha is the spirit of prophecy. This is a messenger now speaking to Yahukanan, a messenger speaking to Yahukanan. He said, Don't worship me. And I saw Shamayim opened, and there was a white horse, and he who sat on him was called trustworthy and true, and in uprightness he judges and fights. And his eyes were as flame of fire, and of his head were many crowns, having a name that had been written, which no one had perceived except himself. And having been dressed in a robe dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahuah. And the armies in Shamayim, dressed in fine linen, white and clean, followed him on white horses. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword. With it he would smite the nations, and he shall shepherd them with a rod of iron. And he treads the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Al-Shaddai. And on his robe and on his, not his thigh, it's really on his garment, he has a name written, Sovereign of Sovereigns and Masters of Masters. And I saw one messenger standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the birds that fly in mid-Shamayim, Come and gather together for the supper of the great Elohim, to eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of commanders, and the flesh of strong ones, and the flesh of horses, and of those who sit on them, and the flesh of all people, free and slave, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to fight him who sat on the horse and his army. And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet, who worked signs in his presence, by which he led astray those who received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. The two were thrown alive into the lake of fire burning with sulfur, and the rest were killed with the sword, which came from the mouth of him who sat on the horse, and all the birds were filled with their flesh. Now, so we came here, we see the marriage feast of the Lamb. The marriage feast of the Lamb. And so that is now the rededication of the people. You have the cleansing of the people. That's where Mashiach came and shed his blood. Then you have the rededication of the people. That is where we see the marriage feast of the people with the Lamb. A people, a bride who had been prepared for her groom. And then after that, if you continue to read, you see a rededication of the Haykal. That's where the Haykal is reestablished and the feasts are reestablished. And we will come to that place according to the book of Zechariah, chapter 14. We will come to that place in keeping the feasts of remembrance. And so, as it shows in the book of Chronicles, 2 Chronicles chapter 29, first must come a cleansing, then comes a rededication, and then comes the feast. Okay, we're going to stop here, family, and after the break, we're going to come back and we're going to go to 2 Chronicles again, chapter 34 and chapter 35. So we read chapter 30 last week, and that's where we saw where the feast was kept in the second move. Now we're going to go to chapter 34 and 35, where the feast now, because things were in order, and now we see under a different king, Yashayahu, and our Yahushaphat, I believe it was, where the feast is being kept now at the preferable time. But the people did not keep the feast. They didn't just jump up and go to keeping the feast. First, they had to cleanse themselves, cleanse the place, and rededicate themselves on the place, and then keeping the feast. All right. Before we go to break, any comments or questions, family, before we go to break? Any comments or questions before we go to break, based on what we have covered so far? Let me just check our YouTube link. Let's see. Let me just check to make sure. Oh, Kujina joined via YouTube. Shabbat Shalom. Let me just say Shabbat Shalom to the family that's joining us via YouTube. And again, if you're listening from YouTube, family, there is, I understand, it was brought to my attention that there's a link there that you can click in order to enter the room here on Google+. And so that, you know, if you want to, you'll be able to participate in the chat and we can hear you. But from YouTube, of course, we are unable to hear you and you can't participate in the chat either. Now, what we're going to have to do again, what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to create another broadcast. And so this link will no longer be active. When we go to break, we'll create a new broadcast. Of course, it will be live again on YouTube, but I'm also going to put the invites in on Google+. So I'll add your names for those names that I have. I'll add your names on Google+ to the new broadcast, and then you can rejoin that way. Let's see. Let me scroll down. There's something posted on the board. I think there was a question, so let me scroll down to get it. Let's see. Bear with me here, family. Just scroll down so I can. Okay. Akut Yaria, I got. Okay, Akut. Okay, so Akut Yaria got through from the link on Facebook. Akut Yaria got through on the link on Facebook, and there is a link on Facebook for this broadcast, and I'm going to post another link on Facebook for the new broadcast once we come back. So I'll be doing that, family. I'll be posting a link for the new broadcast once we come back. Okay. All right. I've got. Okay, now. All right. Yes, the YouTube. To get to YouTube, it's it's youtube.com/Word of Life Ministry. That's the YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, let me post a link. Let me share a link to the channel, family. On YouTube. Let me post a link to the channel. Give me just a second. I'll post a link to the channel. Let me just copy it, and I'm going to post it in the room. Here we go. All right. So that's the link to the channel. That's the link to the YouTube channel. If you go there, again, you'll see it says live stream or something. You click on that, and you're able to listen. But again, we can't hear you. And if you post questions, if you click on the Q&A, you can post questions, and I'll see them, or comments, and I'll see them. But if you want to actually participate on the live feed, you'll have to follow the link from that video that will take you into the live feed, or you can go to Facebook and follow the link, or you can go to Google Plus. You can go to my profile or your Google Plus homepage. If you're a part of my circles, then you'll see a link there, or I'll tag you also once I create that new broadcast link. Okay, so family, we're gonna take a break. I know you're probably hungry, as I am. We're gonna take a break, and then we'll come back. We're gonna go to 2 Chronicles chapter 34 and chapter 35. It is my hope. I know we because we're new to the platform, we started off with some challenges today, but nonetheless, it is my hope that in spite of the challenges, that our fellowship thus far has been a baraka to you, and do look forward to us coming back for the next portion of our study. I did from our last Shabbat, not last Shabbat, and I have to post the recordings from the other studies we have done on the feast. And Akut Kazakaya, I owe you some lessons. I told you I'd get them posted. I'm gonna be posting them on YouTube, Akut. You asked me about one in particular. I'm gonna make that available soon. But I want to post them so that if you need them, you can have them to review. And so I'll be doing that. But I did post. We went over the book of Abarim, or Hebrews, chapter 8, 9, and 10 first day, and I posted that to YouTube concerning the writings of Shaul, because there's really terrible misunderstanding concerning the writings of Shaul. And what a lot of people don't realize, like, in translation they say the law, and so on. And Shaul was talking about the Torah. Shaul speaks from the perspective of redemption. That's what he was dealing with. And a lot of people don't realize that, don't understand that. And because they don't understand that, which laws? That's right, which laws? He's talking about a particular set of laws. You see, imagine our court system, for example. Imagine this court system. I say our court system. But imagine the legal system of this country. Do you take for example, would you go hire I can't think, would you go hire a divorce lawyer a divorce attorney to fight what you would call a slip and fall case? Would you go hire? Do they study the same laws? I'm just talking about from the perspective of even this system. Well, in Yahuwah's Torah is grouped in different segments. You see, they cover different subject matters. You have the Torah of salvation, redemption. You have the Torah of foods, clean and unclean. You have the Torah that tells us how we ought to live with one another as neighbors. You see, a social order. You have Torah have different compartments to it. And when Shahu was speaking, he's speaking concerning the Torah of redemption. A lot of people don't realize that. And because they see the word law, they say, oh, Shaul is talking against the law. He's talking against all of Torah or whatever. And that's a totally false and a total misunderstanding of what's actually being stated, you see. Concerning redemption, there was a change in the contract, you see. A lot of people don't understand that change, what the changes are, you see. And so that video has been posted. Encourage you, if you weren't in the room, or even if you were, to take a listen to it. I believe that you'll find it perhaps to be quite helpful. Praise Father Aki. Praise Yahuwah. All right. Well, once again, we give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem. We're going to take a break, family, so we can all get ourselves refreshed and come back for the rest of our study today. So I'll be creating a new broadcast link, and I'll tag everyone that I can in it, and you'll have a link on the YouTube channel, and I'll post a link to Facebook also. I'll share the link in as many places as I can to ensure that we can find our way back. All right? Once again, shalom and Shabbat shalom, and to the Yahuwah for the fellowship, and I look forward to seeing you in about a half an hour. That's about 20 minutes after. It's 4:50 Eastern time, so a half an hour from now, wherever you are, a half an hour from now, I'll see you then. Shalom. I'm going to stop the broadcast.